There is a reason your life has not yet reflected the wealth you silently know you were meant for. It is not because you lack talent, nor intelligence, nor opportunity. It is because your nights have been working against you instead of for you. Most men spend their days chasing success and their nights undoing the very progress they fought to make. Their final thoughts before sleep are fear, worry, doubt, and the quiet confession, maybe wealth isn't for me. And whatever a man whispers to himself in the darkness, his life obeys in the daylight. But imagine something different. Imagine falling asleep tonight and your mind, instead of replaying fear, begins absorbing a new identity, an identity of wealth, mastery, certainty, and power. Imagine waking tomorrow with thoughts that pull opportunity toward you instead of pushing it away. Imagine rising with a sense that money is no longer a battle, but a natural extension of who you are. Do not dismiss this quickly. The greatest secret in achievement is this: the subconscious mind decides your reality while you sleep. It is the silent architect of your fortune or your failure. And every night you have unknowingly been feeding it the wrong commands. Let me ask you something. What did you fall asleep thinking about last night? Bills, pressure, regret, the fear of another year slipping through your hands? Those thoughts did not stay where you left them. They traveled downward into the deepest part of your mind, where identity is carved and destiny is written. And if you want to know why your financial life has not yet transformed, look there, not at your work, not at your resume, not at your circumstances. Look at the thoughts you have fallen asleep with. Now consider a different possibility. Consider the power of 3 uninterrupted hours where your mind is not fighting you, where your defenses are down, where your subconscious is wide open, ready to receive, ready to be shaped, ready to obey. 3 hours in which your thoughts are being replaced, refined, rebuilt with the laws that create wealth in any age, in any economy, for any man who is willing to hear. What if the key to waking up rich is not working harder in the day, but thinking correctly in the night? There is a force inside you that has been sleeping much longer than you have. It has been waiting for you to give it the right instructions. It has been waiting for you to stop feeding it fear and start feeding it definiteness. It has been waiting for you to impress upon it a single truth: I intend to prosper. When a man repeats this truth consciously, his results begin to shift slowly. But when he repeats it subconsciously, when he feeds it to his mind as he sleeps, the shift is exponential. The subconscious does not argue. It does not question. It does not reason. It accepts. And once accepted, it begins to direct your habits, attract new ideas, ignite ambition, and pull opportunities into your life with a speed that astonishes those who do not understand the law. But here is the part that will challenge you. Your subconscious is never off duty. If you do not give it a command, it obeys your fears. If you do not give it purpose, it accepts your doubts. If you do not give it wealth, it accepts poverty. Every night, it chooses between the voice of your desire and the voice of your fear. And until this moment, fear has been shouting louder. Tonight that ends. Tonight you will not merely sleep, you will instruct. You will not drift, you will direct. You will not hope, you will command. You will allow your mind to be saturated with the thoughts of a man who intends to rise, a man who expects fortune, a man whose identity no longer matches the limitations of his past. Think of how many years you have spent working with your hands while your mind worked against you. Think of how many opportunities you missed because your inner world was unprepared to receive them. Think of how many days you started with anxiety instead of authority, because the night before was polluted with fear. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine waking up and feeling something different. Not stress, but certainty. Not worry, but direction. Not confusion, but clarity. Imagine events aligning. Imagine ideas emerging. Imagine feeling as though life has begun to cooperate with you in ways it never has before. This is not fantasy. This is law. The mind impresses upon reality what has been impressed upon it, and nothing impresses more deeply than the words you hear while you sleep. But let me warn you, If you listen to this passively, if you drift through these hours without intent, you will gain nothing. Your subconscious will treat these words like dust blown against a closed door. The door must open. You must open it. If you listen as a man who intends to be rich, not someday, not eventually, but now, your subconscious will accept these words as commands. And once accepted, your entire life begins to reorganize itself around that new identity. Ask yourself, what would my days look like if I began each morning with a mind shaped by wealth instead of fear? What would I believe about myself? What opportunities would I pursue without hesitation? What habits would form naturally? What limitations would crumble? How would the world respond to a man who carries himself as though fortune were already assigned to him? The man who controls his sleep controls his future. Tonight, allow your thoughts to be rewritten. Allow your fears to be silenced. Allow wealth to become familiar, expected, natural. Allow your subconscious to receive the identity you have long desired but never fully claimed. These 3 hours can do what years of struggle could not. Let this night become the point where your financial story shifts, quietly, powerfully, permanently. Let this be the night you stop rehearsing your past and begin rehearsing your future. Now lie down, breathe, listen with intention. Let the words that follow sink into the deepest part of your mind, where wealth is born long before it appears in the physical world. Tonight you sleep, and tomorrow you rise, and soon you wake up rich. There is a secret hour in every man's life, the hour after he closes his eyes and before his mind surrenders to sleep. In that sacred interval, the unseen architect of his destiny begins its labor. The body rests, but the mind continues to build. It listens, it accepts, it obeys. It cannot distinguish truth from error, abundance from lack, wealth from want. It accepts only what it is told with feeling, and whatever it accepts, it creates. Most men do not know this. They lie down each night whispering their failures. They tell the mind, I am tired, I am behind, I cannot pay these bills, I am afraid for tomorrow. And the mind, loyal servant that it is, takes those words as instruction. It spends the long hours of darkness building a tomorrow that resembles today's complaint. The man then awakes puzzled, believing life to be cruel, never realizing he's been giving commands while he slept. Sleep is not escape. It is creation. It is the workshop of the soul, the silent studio where thought becomes form. Whatever a man impresses upon his mind before sleep will, in time, express itself upon his circumstances. The farmer knows that the night grows what he planted in the day. So does the mind. The field never questions the seed. It grows whatever it receives. Wealth is not written in the day. It is written in the night before. The man who learns to treat sleep as creative partnership with infinite intelligence begins to write his fortune while others only dream of it. The subconscious mind does not argue, analyze, or resist. It only obeys. That obedience is the most faithful servant on earth, and the greatest danger when directed by fear. The world has taught man to prepare his clothes before sleep, but not his thoughts. He polishes his shoes, sets his alarm, and carries his worries with him into the dark as though they were necessary companions. Yet it is not the morning's effort, but the night's impression that determines fortune. You may labor all day planting weeds of worry and expect roses of success. It cannot be done. The subconscious multiplies whatever it receives. Thomas Edison understood this law, though he never preached it. When fatigue overcame him in the laboratory, he would rest upon a bench, half awake, half asleep, holding an idea before his mind as one holds a compass steady before the light. Many of his greatest inventions were born in that twilight of consciousness, when reason slept, but imagination remained awake. He knew that suggestion works strongest when resistance is lowest, at the edge of sleep. The same principle governs you. As the body begins to tire and the critical faculties relax, the gates to the subconscious open wide. At that moment, you are either master or prisoner. If you drift into sleep with worry, you send an army of fear to march through your mind all night. If you drift into sleep with definiteness, you send builders of fortune to work in silence. Before sleep, issue command. Tomorrow I awaken with ideas that attract wealth. I move with certainty. I am guided by infinite intelligence. Speak it calmly, not with desperation, but with conviction. Feel the truth of it, as though it were already accomplished. For emotion is the ink that writes upon the subconscious. Words without feeling are chalk. They fade with the first breeze of doubt. Early believers called this practice prayer, not the pleading of the timid, but the creative declaration of faith. True prayer is not begging for rescue. It is commanding the unseen with gratitude. It is thought wrapped in emotion, offered to the silent mind with assurance that it will obey. The man who prays rightly gives thanks for what already exists in the invisible, knowing it will soon appear in the visible. The subconscious is fertile soil. It grows every seed, faith or fear, wealth or want, success or struggle. Most men plant weeds each night and then curse the garden at dawn. They water their fears with repetition and wonder why they bloom so quickly. You must become the gardener of your own night. Replace worry before rest with command before rest. Replace fear with faith, anxiety with assurance. Let me tell you of an ordinary man who discovered this truth by accident. He had been buried in debt. Each night he counted what he owed instead of what he possessed. Sleep became punishment. Dawn, despair. One night, driven to exhaustion, he decided to burn his bills, not to escape obligation, but to break the spell of fear. He said aloud, "I will no longer fall asleep to defeat. I will fall asleep to dominion." He began repeating, "My mind is richer than my circumstances. My ideas repay all debts." Within months, new work appeared, fresh ideas came, and creditors became allies. He had not changed fortune by money, but by thought. What this man did was simple. He reversed the current of his own thinking. His circumstances obeyed the new order, for the subconscious cannot hold two contradictory commands. Once faith entered, fear had to depart. What he practiced for one night as experiment became his nightly law. Do not mistake this for superstition. It is psychology written by law. The subconscious is not moral. It is mechanical. It builds according to blueprint. And every night you deliver that blueprint through your final thoughts. If those thoughts are disorderly, you will awaken to confusion. If they are definite, you will awaken to direction. Emotion, more than words, shapes the depth of impression. You may whisper, "I am wealthy," 100 times with doubt, and nothing will happen. You may whisper it once with absolute conviction, and mountains will move. The subconscious does not read syllables. It reads vibration. That is why gratitude before sleep is so powerful. Gratitude carries the vibration of completion. It tells the mind, "It is finished." And once the subconscious believes something finished, it begins arranging the visible world to reflect it. Say each night, "As I sleep, my mind obeys the law of increase. I rest in the assurance of abundance. I am one with the power that multiplies all good." Speak slowly. Feel deeply. Let the body relax as the thought sinks in. Imagine these words traveling downward like roots into soil. Let the feeling of peace replace all struggle. The more emotion of certainty you bring, the deeper the seed goes. You must also learn to protect this sacred interval. The minutes before sleep are not for newspapers, quarrels, or gossip. They are the entrance to your creative workshop. Fill them only with what you wish multiplied. If you would not want to live it, do not think it before rest. Many destroy their peace by taking to bed the world's noise. But the mind, once silent, becomes a receiver of wisdom beyond reason. Understand this. The night does not end when you close your eyes. The law of mind never sleeps. It works whether you use it or not. It builds or it destroys as instructed. You cannot pause creation. You can only direct it. The man who neglects his night thoughts is like a farmer who leaves his field unattended. Nature will fill it, but not with what he desires. Every saint, inventor, and empire builder has learned to harness this law. Napoleon Bonaparte planned campaigns in his dreams. Lincoln often said that guidance came to him at night, when the din of men was still. Henry Ford admitted that his clearest mechanical visions appeared upon waking. These men used night as continuation, not cessation. While others slept in forgetfulness, they slept in faith. Now I ask you, what commands have you been giving? What emotions have you been feeding to your silent worker? If you lie down heavy with worry, you will wake heavier still. If you sleep with faith, you will wake strong. A mind that ends the day with complaint must begin the next with correction. The cycle is merciless until broken consciously. Becoming master of the night is not complicated. It requires discipline of attention. You must decide, before pillow touches head, what image, what sentence, what feeling will be the last impression. Make it definite, positive, constructive. If your aim is wealth, see yourself in the act of service that brings it. If your aim is peace, feel gratitude for having already attained it. The subconscious takes images as orders. It makes no moral choice. The best time to impress thought is the border between wakefulness and sleep. At that threshold, the mind becomes transparent. Speak your affirmation there, calmly, quietly, confidently. Let drowsiness be the bridge that carries it inward. This is not a moment of effort, but surrender. Strain closes the gate, serenity opens it. Each night, your bed becomes your altar, your mind the temple, your last thought the prayer. The wealth you seek by labor is built first by faith. You cannot work successfully by day while doubting by night. Two masters cannot be served. The mind will obey the stronger, either the fears you feel or the faith you affirm. There is one more principle. Whatever you permit yourself to feel just before sleep, you will experience in life. The feeling is the prophecy. If you lie down defeated, you are signing tomorrow's decree of failure. If you lie down victorious, the subconscious will rehearse success until dawn. Therefore, guard the gates of sleep as you would a treasure. Only ideas of power must pass through. Close your eyes tonight and imagine that all the noise of the world fades into silence. Feel yourself as part of a greater rhythm, the pulse of law, the breathing of infinite intelligence through you. Whisper once more. As I sleep, my mind obeys the law of increase. I rest in the assurance of abundance. Then let go. Let sleep carry your command to the deeper mind that never tires. You will wake not merely refreshed, but guided. Circumstances will begin aligning themselves in ways you cannot yet predict. You will meet the right person, think the right thought, notice the right opportunity. It will seem like coincidence, but it will be correspondence, the outer reflection of what you built in the night. Remember this forever. You do not rest when you sleep. You create. Sleep is the mirror that shows your last waking thought. If that thought is fear, you will live its reflection. If that thought is faith, you will walk in its light. From this night forward, be not the victim of your own unconsciousness. Become the commander of it. For what a man allows himself to feel before sleep, he lives tomorrow. And that truth, once accepted, turns every night into the birthplace of fortune. There is a reason most men rise each morning unchanged. Despite all their reading, their prayer, their effort, it is because they go to bed as one man and expect to wake as another. They ask life to give them riches while clinging to the image of poverty. But the subconscious mind does not obey words. It obeys identity. It molds the outer world to fit the pattern of who you believe you are. If you sleep as a debtor, you will wake to pay. If you sleep as a creator, you will wake to command. Identity is not what you say aloud. It is what you know yourself to be when silence covers you. It is the secret portrait you hold within, the unseen mold from which the visible self is poured. Every event in your life, every circumstance, every encounter answers to that inner title. You do not attract what you desire, you attract what you are. Most men do not fail from lack of opportunity, they fail from loyalty to a smaller self. They lie down each night rehearsing the story of their limitations, their losses, their fears, and then they wonder why those same characters greet them at dawn. You cannot lie down as a beggar and rise as a king. You cannot sleep in self-pity and wake in power. The mind only continues the story it was told before rest. There is a law far older than money, far older than labor. The law that the inner image precedes all external form. The subconscious must have a model to build upon. You may change your location, your companions, even your work. But if your identity remains the same, life will rebuild the same conditions around you. To change your fortune, you must first change the man who meets it. You must decide before sleep who you are, not who you wish to be someday, but who you are now. For the subconscious does not understand tomorrow. It only understands now. The image you hold tonight will command the unseen forces that shape tomorrow. Let us take the example of Edwin C. Barnes. He was a poor drifter when he decided that he would become the business partner of Thomas Edison. No one in his town believed him, for he had neither money nor influence. But that night, and every night after, he slept as though he already was Edison's partner. He pictured himself working beside the great inventor, contributing ideas, sharing success. His outer life had not changed, but his identity had. Within months, opportunity opened. Within years, the world called him Edison's associate. The facts obeyed the faith. The same law holds for you. The moment you claim a new identity inwardly, the world begins rearranging itself to support it. The man who says, "I am poor," summons proof of it. The man who says, "I am rich in mind," summons ideas, allies, and circumstances that justify the claim. Identity is not boasting. It is decree. It is the unseen magnet that draws its likeness. There is a profound difference between pretending and assuming. Pretending is a performance for others. Assuming is a command to yourself. Pretending deceives the conscious mind, but the subconscious knows the truth. Assumption, when felt deeply, becomes truth. It is not make-believe. It is belief in the making. When you lie down tonight, do not carry with you the name that fear has given you: struggler, worker, survivor. Take a new name upon your inner lips: creator, commander, master of thought. Whisper it until it feels natural. Say to yourself, "I am rich in mind. I am the cause, not the consequence." Speak it without strain, for truth never strains. Let the emotion of certainty replace the restlessness of hope. As you fall toward sleep, form in your mind the picture of yourself as already complete, free, prosperous, composed. Do not ask for it as a beggar asks for bread. Give thanks for it as a master receives his due. Gratitude is the seal of faith. It tells the subconscious, the work is finished. The mind that falls asleep in gratitude awakens in guidance. You may ask, but how can I believe something not yet visible? Understand this. Belief is not seeing what already is. It is seeing what must be. Faith is the evidence of things not seen. You have practiced faith in failure long enough, fearing loss before it occurred, expecting disappointment before it arrived. That same faculty reversed becomes faith in success. You already know how to believe. You must only choose a different direction. When a man accepts wealth and consciousness, he begins to carry himself differently. His shoulders square, his walk steadies, his voice deepens. Others feel the shift, though they cannot explain it. They sense authority, assurance, dignity. They respond to it with trust, cooperation, respect. This is not illusion. It is law. The world mirrors the conviction of the inner man. Consider Andrew Carnegie. Long before he possessed wealth, he called himself the organizer of men. That title was his inner identity. He repeated it, lived it, believed it. Because he saw himself as an organizer, men came to be organized. They offered him ideas, labor, loyalty. The world simply followed the pattern he held within. You may be tempted to dismiss such examples as luck, but luck is only law unrecognized. Every great fortune has been preceded by a self-concept worthy of it. No man can consistently act against his belief about himself. If he sees himself small, he will unconsciously destroy whatever contradicts that image. If he sees himself great, he will rise even through failure. Now, tonight, choose the image you will serve. Do not ask, "What do I deserve?" Ask, "Who must I become?" The answer to that question is the key to your entire life. The subconscious needs instruction. If you do not give it one, it will default to the identity you have rehearsed since youth. Remember how poverty is taught. Parents whisper, "We can't afford it." Teachers warn, "Be realistic." Preachers say, "Blessed are the poor." These voices, repeated in childhood, become laws in the mind. You cannot hate them. You must replace them. The only antidote to false identity is deliberate creation of a new one. At first, it may feel false to declare, "I am rich." The old identity will resist, whispering, "You are lying." Do not argue with it. The seed must not debate with the soil. Continue watering it with repetition, and soon it will root deeper than doubt. Here is a nightly exercise. As you lie in bed, breathe slowly. With each exhale, release the image of who you have been. With each inhale, assume the image of who you are becoming. Feel the difference in posture, in mood, in expectation. Say silently, "My identity is wealth. My mind is order. My thoughts are law." Continue until the old self dissolves and the new one feels natural. Then sleep in that state. The subconscious cannot distinguish between imagination and reality. Whatever image you fall asleep with, it begins to reproduce. It does not know that your wealth exists only in thought. It accepts the thought as fact and organizes conditions accordingly. You need not understand how. You must only maintain the identity until life obeys. Be warned. If you fall asleep doubting your declaration, the subconscious receives the doubt, not the desire. Therefore, never argue within yourself. Decide once, affirm quietly, and surrender. The mind does not require shouting, it requires consistency. The whisper of conviction is louder than the scream of confusion. How will others see you once you begin this practice? They will notice calm where there was tension, purpose where there was hesitation. They may not understand it, but they will feel compelled to cooperate with you. The man certain of himself requires no persuasion. His certainty persuades for him. Your new identity will also attract new circumstances. The job you disliked may change in structure, or you may be called elsewhere. Friends may drift away as others appear. Do not resist these rearrangements. The world is simply matching your inner order. As within, so without. Each night that you practice this, your subconscious grows more obedient to your chosen image. In time, it will reject thoughts that contradict it. Poverty consciousness will lose its hold, just as darkness vanishes before light. You will no longer need to force belief. Belief will have become your nature. The transformation will not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it will begin as a quiet dignity, a refusal to complain, a growing sense that fortune owes you nothing because you already possess it in spirit. That confidence will express itself in action. More decisive choices, more opportunities seized, more peace amid uncertainty. Others will call it confidence. You will know it as identity fulfilled. Carnegie once said that a man's first duty is to think highly of himself, not in arrogance, but in gratitude to the source that made him capable of greatness. Every night you deny your worth, you defy that source. Every night you affirm it, you honor it. Let your final thought each day be not a plea, but a proclamation. I am wealthy in mind, faithful in purpose, unshakable in conviction. I sleep as master of my world, not servant to it. Repeat this until the emotion of assurance carries you into sleep, then let go. The subconscious will complete the work without interference. Gratitude is faith's signature. Without it, suggestion is incomplete. When you feel grateful before evidence, you tell the subconscious that the work is finished. Gratitude seals the instruction like wax on a royal decree. The next day will bring evidence to justify your thanks. Identity is the seed of all riches. You can study principles, labor tirelessly, save every coin. But if your self-concept remains small, your fortune will shrink to match it. But once you enlarge identity, the same work, the same hours, the same hands will produce multiplied return. Sleep tonight not as who you were, but as who you choose to be. Let the old identity die quietly in the night, and wake to a world eager to serve the new. For the universe always rearranges itself to fit the image of the man who knows himself. If you would become wealthy, sleep not as a man chasing riches, but as the man who already possesses them. Sleep with gratitude, with calm, with assurance. For what you call dream is not fantasy, it is blueprint. When you understand this, you will no longer beg life for favors. You will instruct it. You will no longer ask, how do I earn more? You will declare, I am the kind of man to whom more must come. The difference between those two sentences is the difference between servitude and sovereignty. Each night, as the body rests, let the mind take its throne. Whisper your declaration of identity. Feel its truth until you sleep in peace. The subconscious will carry it as command, and life will carry it as fact. For you do not attract what you wish, you attract what you are. And the man who knows himself as wealth can never again awaken poor. There is a secret power greater than words, greater than thought itself, and it is the force that gives life to every creation under heaven. That power is emotion. Emotion is the spirit of thought, the invisible current that carries belief from the conscious mind into the subconscious, from idea into reality. Without emotion, no idea can take root. Without feeling, no affirmation can live. You may speak the words of wealth all night, but if your heart trembles with fear, your words will die at the gate. The mind is not moved by language alone, it is moved by vibration. The subconscious listens not to what you say, but to how you feel when you say it. It reads your emotional temperature and acts accordingly. Fear is a command, faith is a command. Both speak the same tongue. Both say, let it be so. The difference lies in what they expect. Fear expects loss and builds it. Faith expects increase and builds it. The law never argues, it obeys. Most men think in prosperity but feel in poverty. They fill their heads with words of abundance, yet carry hearts of worry. They repeat affirmations of confidence while vibrating with doubt. The subconscious obeys the stronger master, and feeling is always stronger than word. You cannot affirm wealth while secretly fearing lack and expect success. The feeling cancels the sentence. The subconscious receives the dominant vibration, not the sentence on your lips. This is why so many fail in their attempts to transform their lives. They practice mental effort without emotional agreement. They think from the head while the heart remains in rebellion. The mind divided against itself cannot stand. True faith is emotional unity. It is the blending of thought and feeling into one definite current that nothing can oppose. You must therefore learn to feel your affirmations, not merely to think them. To speak of abundance while feeling its truth is to plant living seed. To speak of it while feeling doubt is to scatter dust upon the wind. The wise man does not repeat his affirmations coldly. He breathes them with warmth, with belief, with gratitude. He understands that emotion is the hand that presses the seal upon the subconscious. Look at Henry Ford. His decision to build the impossible V8 engine was not based on logic, but on emotional certainty. Every engineer told him it could not be done. But Ford's feeling of faith was unshakable. He did not merely think it can be done, he felt it as truth. His conviction was so vivid that it became contagious. The emotion of his certainty passed from mind to mind until the impossible was achieved. Faith, felt faith, is the electricity that powers creation. You must generate that same inner current before sleep. Let your emotion agree with your desire. Do not speak, "I am wealthy," while feeling unworthy. Do not affirm abundance while secretly resenting those who possess it. Align your heart with your words. When your emotion and thought travel in one direction, the result is inevitable. The way to align feeling with desire is simple. Imagine the joy of already having what you seek. Do not strain to believe. Feel gratitude for its completion. Gratitude is faith's language. It signals the subconscious that the work is done. And the subconscious, hearing that tone, begins immediately to reproduce conditions that match it. Emotion before sleep must be serenity, not struggle. Do not try to force feeling. Calm it. Emotion cannot be commanded through tension. It must be invited through peace. The vibration of wealth is calm assurance, not feverish excitement. The truly rich are never frantic. Their faith has no urgency. Their confidence is quiet because it is complete. The man who truly believes he will eat tomorrow does not panic today. Therefore, as you prepare for sleep, release all tension. Let your breath grow slow. Imagine yourself already possessing what you desire. Feel the ease of it, the naturalness of it. The subconscious does not respond to strain, it responds to harmony. The closer your inner atmosphere matches the atmosphere of success, the sooner it appears. To help yourself reach this state, use visualization. Picture your day as you wish it to be, not in vague dreams, but in definite scenes. See yourself handling affairs with poise, speaking confidently, receiving opportunities. Feel the satisfaction of accomplishment. The subconscious learns through pictures. When you add emotion to those pictures, you make them alive. Understand this law. Emotion is the power that fuses thought into substance. Without it, thought remains a shadow. With it, thought becomes form. You cannot separate faith from feeling, nor belief from vibration. You may memorize the laws of wealth, but if your emotional tone remains one of fear, the subconscious will obey the fear. It does not discriminate between prayers and worries. It fulfills the stronger one. Abraham Lincoln understood this law, though he never named it. Surrounded by defeat, ridicule, and loss, he cultivated serenity. While others collapsed under fear, he radiated calm. That calm was not indifference, it was faith made steady. His composure carried the vibration of victory long before the war was won. Because his feeling was stronger than the nation's despair, events eventually matched it. You too must carry emotional mastery into sleep. The mind you present to the night determines the world that greets you in the morning. To sleep in anxiety is to program confusion. To sleep in gratitude is to program success. The vibration you sustain in the final moments before rest becomes the blueprint of tomorrow. Practice this tonight. Before closing your eyes, recall 3 moments of gratitude from the day, however small, a kind word, a completed task, a lesson learned. Let the warmth of appreciation fill you. Then turn your attention to your aim: wealth, peace, health, purpose. Feel it as though completed. Let the 2 emotions, gratitude for the past, faith for the future, blend into one calm certainty. That mixture is the most potent medicine for the mind. You may protest, "How can I feel wealthy when my pockets are empty?" The answer is that feeling precedes fact. The emotion is not reaction, it is creation. To feel poor because you are poor is obedience to circumstance. To feel rich while poor is mastery over it. Life follows feeling, not condition. The man who can feel wealth before he sees it will soon see it, because law requires agreement between the inner and outer. Emotion is also contagious. Others will feel it in you. They may not know why they trust you, why they listen, why they follow, but they will. Faith radiates an invisible authority that compels cooperation. It is not arrogance. It is alignment with law. People sense in the man of faith a steadiness they long to borrow. Your calm becomes their compass. Be careful, however, not to mistake intensity for faith. Excitement is the flame of desire. Calm is the light of conviction. Many confuse enthusiasm with power, but enthusiasm without peace burns itself out. The subconscious does not need fireworks, it needs focus. When you feel deeply but calmly, you give it precise instruction. To reach this calm intensity, practice rhythm. Breathe in faith, breathe out fear. Each exhale releases tension. Each inhale fills you with power. Let your pulse, your breath, your words move in harmony. The body becomes instrument, the mind the musician. Soon you will feel emotion settle into its proper tone, steady, rich, magnetic. Emotion is also discipline. You cannot let yourself dwell on fear by day and expect faith by night. The vibration you carry through your hours colors the one you carry into sleep. Control begins in wakefulness. The more peace you maintain through the day, the easier it is to command the subconscious at night. Each morning, remind yourself, my emotions obey my purpose. This single declaration will begin to bring order to your inner world. The man who rules his emotions rules his destiny. The man who is ruled by them drifts with every wind. You cannot command fortune until you command feeling. Emotional mastery does not mean suppression. It means selection. Feel deliberately, not reactively. Choose what to amplify. Every emotion is energy. Direct it, do not waste it. The same passion that burns in fear can be reversed into faith. The same excitement that shakes you in worry can fuel creative vision. The raw energy is neutral. Your direction gives it meaning. Let me tell you of a merchant who applied this law. He was near ruin, harassed by creditors. Each night he lay awake with anxiety, imagining loss. Then he learned that fear and faith are the same force turned in opposite directions. He decided to reverse it. Instead of fearing poverty, he began to feel gratitude for opportunity. Instead of shrinking under debt, he felt courage rising within. He repeated before sleep, "This pressure is proof of power. I am greater than any number." Within months, business revived. He had not changed figures. He had changed feeling. Such is the power of emotional agreement. When your feeling matches your declaration, the subconscious moves heaven and earth to obey. The man who can align these two, thought and emotion, becomes unstoppable, for he has achieved unity within himself. Let your nightly affirmation carry both calm and conviction. Say, "My calm is command. My faith is steady. My emotions obey my purpose." Speak slowly. Feel the meaning. Let the rhythm of your breath carry it inward. Imagine the words descending through the layers of mind until they rest in the heart. The subconscious receives the emotion, not the syntax. If you can hold one feeling for 30 seconds before sleep, the feeling of assurance, of gratitude, of success, you will do more to transform your life than hours of anxious thinking. 30 seconds of perfect emotional agreement outweighs 1,000 repetitions without it. Emotional mastery will also change how the world perceives you. Where once your speech trembled, it will now ring with certainty. Where once your presence brought unease, it will now bring peace. Men will sense balance in your manner and reliability in your voice. They will feel safer in your confidence than in their own reasoning. And that trust will open doors that skill alone could not. Think of Lincoln again, how his calm spread through armies and nations. He did not command with noise, he commanded with conviction. That same power dwells in you when your emotions serve your purpose. The greatest test of emotional mastery is adversity. Anyone can feel faith when skies are clear. Mastery begins when thunder rolls. When fear knocks, answer it with composure. Say within, "This too is part of my training. I am greater than my condition." Then hold that feeling of quiet superiority. The moment you feel larger than the problem begins to shrink. You will find that over time, fear itself becomes energy for faith. Each challenge becomes a reminder of your authority. You begin to look forward to tests because they reveal your growth. The man who has mastered emotion welcomes difficulty, as a furnace welcomes gold. In this state, sleep becomes a nightly renewal of strength. The subconscious, fed with faith and gratitude, works joyfully through the night. It rearranges ideas, draws new opportunities, heals the wounds of worry. You awake with calm eagerness, as though the day itself were an ally. Never underestimate the power of the last feeling before sleep. It is the blueprint of destiny. Make it peace, and peace will follow you. Make it gratitude, and life will multiply your reasons for it. Make it fear, and fear will return to collect its debt. You alone choose the architect's instruction. So tonight, before you drift into rest, quiet the mind. Withdraw it from the world's noise. Let the breath slow, the muscles relax. Then choose your feeling, not the one circumstance offers, but the one you intend to live. Feel wealth as natural, peace as familiar, joy as deserved. When the body grows heavy and the boundary of wakefulness fades, whisper one truth: I feel now as I wish to live. Let that feeling sink deeper than thought. Let it carry you beyond words. The subconscious will accept it as command. And tomorrow, the world will begin to mirror it in form, people, and event. For thought creates direction, but emotion gives it power. And the man who learns to unite both walks through life as a living magnet of abundance. He does not chase fortune. Fortune chases him. He does not beg for peace. Peace emanates from him. He does not seek faith. He has become it. Emotion is the bridge between the seen and unseen. Master it, and you command creation itself. And when you sleep tonight, remember, your heart is the voice the universe listens to most. Repetition is the great sculptor of the mind. It chisels belief from formless thought, strikes away the marble of doubt, and reveals within every man the image of his higher self. A single thought, no matter how grand, cannot shape destiny. It must be repeated until the subconscious accepts it as law. This is the silent secret behind all mastery, the continual impress of one idea until it becomes automatic. Many men fail because they treat success as an event instead of a pattern. They think one strong effort will break the habits of years. But no habit is destroyed, it is replaced. And replacement comes only through repetition. The mind learns by rhythm just as the body learns by motion. What you do, say, and think repeatedly, you become. You have practiced failure through repetition already. Every night of anxious thought, every morning of complaint, every fearful word has been rehearsal. You have trained yourself into doubt the way an athlete trains into strength. Yet the same law that built weakness can build power. For repetition itself is neutral. It serves whomever commands it. To reverse a life, you must reverse its rhythm. You must speak faith where you once spoke fear, expect victory where you once expected defeat, and do it again and again until the new pattern overshadows the old. There is no other way. Faith is not born of one grand emotion. It is carved into the mind through persistent repetition. Dr. Frank Gonzalez proved this law when he set out to build a college. He had no money, no sponsors, no promise of help, only a burning desire. Each night he repeated to himself, I will get $1 million for a college. He pictured it. He felt it. He spoke it until the thought became a living companion. Then one day he delivered a sermon declaring that very intention. In the congregation sat a man whose fortune fulfilled the vision. That sermon was not luck. It was the final repetition that broke through resistance. Understand that suggestion is most powerful when the conscious mind grows weary, when reason sleeps, and imagination stands guard. This is why repetition before sleep carries extraordinary force. At the edge of drowsiness, the subconscious listens with open doors. In that half-conscious state, every word spoken with emotion bypasses resistance and sinks deep into the mind's fertile soil. Make use of that moment each night. When you feel yourself drifting, whisper your command slowly and rhythmically. I am wealthy in thought. My mind creates opportunity. My life is increasing in every direction. Do not rush. Time your words with your breathing. Let each phrase become a heartbeat of faith. The mind learns through rhythm, heart, breath, pulse, repetition. In ancient temples, chants and prayers were repeated in steady cadence for this very reason. The priests understood rhythm as key to suggestion. Every sound, every beat carried meaning beyond words. The subconscious learns not from logic, but from pattern. What you say repeatedly with feeling becomes the pulse of your identity. If you would rewire the mind, make repetition your daily discipline. You cannot tell the subconscious a new truth once and expect obedience. You must impress it until it has no other choice. Repetition is not monotony, it is mastery. One hammer strike does not shape the blade, but 1,000 create perfection. So it is with thought. Be warned, however, against mechanical repetition. Empty words have no power. Repetition must be alive, infused with emotion, belief, and image. You are not reciting to the air. You are instructing the builder of your destiny. Speak with awareness of that partnership. Each word is a tool, each phrase a command. Begin each repetition with imagination. See what you are saying as though it were happening before your eyes. Feel it in the body, hear it in the mind. The more senses you employ, the deeper the impression. Words alone fade, images endure. When you repeat through vision. Choose one definite aim. Scatter your suggestions and you scatter your results. The subconscious obeys clarity. If your desire is wealth, center every repetition around it. If it is peace, repeat only that until peace becomes your atmosphere. The man who digs 1,000 shallow holes finds no water. The man who digs one deep well strikes the source. Each night, return to your chosen declaration. Whisper it until it no longer feels like affirmation, but description. You will know the law is working when the statement ceases to feel like effort. When it becomes as natural as breathing, the subconscious has accepted it. From that moment, results begin to unfold. Here is a formula. Begin your repetition in wakefulness, continue it in drowsiness, and end it in silence. The silence seals it. Between waking and sleeping lies a narrow gate, the gateway of creation. Cross it with your definite thought and emotion united. Do this each night without exception, and soon your outer world will bend to the inner rhythm you have built. Repetition also governs habit. Every action performed repeatedly becomes automatic. The same is true of thought. The habit of success is simply the repetition of definite belief expressed through persistent action. When you train your mind to repeat wealth consciousness, your behavior will follow without strain. You will find yourself speaking more confidently, walking more uprightly, making decisions with ease. You will not force success. It will flow through you as instinct. Let us test this law with a simple exercise. For 30 days, repeat morning and night. Each day I move with purpose. Each thought I think adds to my fortune. I am surrounded by increase. Do not change the words. Rhythm and consistency are the key. As you continue, you will notice subtle shifts, new ideas, unexpected opportunities, even changes in how others treat you. Repetition aligns invisible forces long before visible evidence appears. The subconscious mind is like a child. It learns through repetition, not explanation. You need not convince it with argument. You must only teach it with persistence. If a child hears the same story every night, soon it begins to dream of it. If your subconscious hears the same truth each night, soon it begins to live it. This is also why fear grows so easily. It is repeated often. Every worry spoken, every doubt rehearsed is repetition of failure. You are already practicing suggestion each day. You are simply unaware of your direction. Repetition is unavoidable. The question is, what are you repeating? A man once told me, "I cannot stop thinking about my debts." I replied, "Then begin thinking of abundance with equal persistence." He followed the instruction, repeating daily, "Money flows to me through service freely and lawfully." At first it felt foolish, then it felt familiar. Soon it felt true. Within a year, his debts vanished, his business doubled. He did not create new energy. He redirected the old. Repetition is energy disciplined. It is the difference between chaos and creation. The lightning that destroys when scattered lights the world when focused. Your thoughts, scattered once in anxiety, can illuminate your future when organized through rhythmic repetition. Add emotion to each session. Feel gratitude as you repeat. Gratitude amplifies faith. Every word spoken with gratitude tells the subconscious, "This already exists." And because the subconscious cannot distinguish between fact and faith, it begins to act as though it were so. Keep your affirmations simple. Complexity breeds confusion. A single phrase of power, repeated faithfully, carries greater strength than volumes of theory. When the mind is calm, one line is enough to change it. I am guided by infinite intelligence, spoken nightly with conviction, will outwork an entire library unread. Some may say repetition is unnecessary, that a single thought of great intensity should suffice. This is error. The mind forgets what it has not engraved. Repetition is the engraving process. Without it, enthusiasm fades. The conscious mind loses focus, and the subconscious slips back into the groove of old habits. The repetition keeps the channel open until belief hardens into identity. If you grow weary of repeating, remind yourself that nature never tires of rhythm. The heart beats, the tide rises and falls, the seasons turn, all repetition governed by law. Does nature complain? No. It thrives through rhythm. So too must your mind. Success is nature's rhythm expressed through human will. Let your affirmations follow this law of rhythm. Set a specific time, a specific tone, a specific phrase. Let consistency become sacred. Even when faith falters, keep the rhythm. The repetition itself will carry you through doubt. There will come a night when the words no longer feel like recitation, but revelation. That moment marks the birth of conviction. Repetition will also refine your character. Each phrase of truth erases an old lie. Each night of practice replaces weakness with strength. You will not notice the transformation day by day, but others will. They will say, "You have changed," without knowing why. The invisible repetition within will shape your visible manner without. Here is another affirmation for your nightly practice. Each repetition strengthens my command. Each night my mind accepts prosperity as natural. Every thought of lack now dissolves in the light of faith. Speak this until your whole being agrees. When you feel that harmony, cease speaking. The silence afterward is as powerful as the words themselves. Let us again consider why rhythm is vital. The subconscious is musical by nature. Emotion itself is rhythm in motion. When words are spoken rhythmically, they bypass analysis and reach the emotional core. That is why marching armies chant, why workers sing, why poets recite. Rhythm unites will and feeling. Use it deliberately. You may also write your affirmations by hand each night. Writing is repetition in motion. The hand reinforces the mind. The act of seeing, speaking, and writing the same truth carves it deeply into memory. When you awaken, glance at those words again. The first sight of the day should remind the subconscious that the command remains in force. Some will ask, when will I see results? That question betrays impatience. The seed does not demand harvest the morning after planting. Repetition is cultivation. Continue the practice until it becomes pleasure. When you enjoy the rhythm itself, you have already won. The harvest will follow naturally. Know this, every repetition builds a bridge between belief and reality. Every statement whispered in faith strengthens that bridge. At last, the bridge becomes so strong that the outer world must cross it. The unseen becomes seen. This is not magic. It is mathematics of the spirit. The greatest men of history mastered this law, whether they named it or not. Edison repeated ideas to himself until invention appeared. Lincoln repeated visions of union until peace was restored. Ford repeated his command, "Build it anyway," until steel obeyed. You may do the same. The law is impartial. In time, your repetitions will bear fruit in behavior. The subconscious, convinced of your wealth identity, will prompt you to act in harmony with it. You will find yourself declining ventures that feel small, accepting opportunities that match your dignity. You will speak less, but with more authority. Each gesture will carry weight. The world will mirror your inner rhythm. Do not fear the seeming slowness of the process. Each night's repetition is a stroke of the chisel. You may not see progress for many days, but within, the image sharpens. One morning, you will feel it. The shift from hope to knowing. That moment is the crossing point. From then on, results unfold swiftly, for belief has crystallized into fact. Repetition is the master key to all change. Every law of success obeys it. You build faith through it, identity through it, emotion through it. Repetition is the thread that ties all other principles together. Miss this and you drift. Master this and nothing can stop you. Therefore, make repetition your nightly vow. Repeat your truth until the stars grow familiar with it. Repeat until your dreams echo it. Repeat until others hear it in your silence. For the subconscious, when trained by repetition, becomes the faithful engine that drives you toward destiny without strain. And remember this final truth. Repetition is not for infinite intelligence to hear. It is for you to remember who you are. When you repeat with conviction, you are not persuading the universe. You are awakening yourself. The law already waits to obey the awakened mind. So tonight, whisper your command again. Whisper it with faith, with rhythm, with gratitude. Let it sink into the stillness beyond thought. And as you sleep, know that the sculptor works. Each night, it shapes the unseen. Each morning, it reveals a little more of the masterpiece. For repetition, faithful and feeling, is not monotony. It is the sound of destiny being built. Every man lives within a picture he has painted of himself, and until he changes that picture, he cannot escape it. Words may pass, actions may vary, fortune may rise or fall, yet the invisible portrait held in the mind remains the pattern to which all circumstances conform. This is the silent law of life. The subconscious mind speaks the language of images, and whatever image you impress upon it, it translates into experience. The great mistake of most men is believing that imagination is child's play, that dreams are idle wanderings of thought. They do not realize that imagination is the soul's camera, capturing ideas in the invisible and developing them in the visible. Every building, bridge, invention, or fortune first existed as a mental picture. Before the world saw Edison's lamp, Edison saw it. Before a single rail was laid for Carnegie's empire, Carnegie had built it 1,000 times in the theater of his own mind. The average man, however, uses imagination in reverse. He pictures lack, failure, embarrassment, and the mind, faithful servant that it is, produces accordingly. He rehearses unpaid bills until they become monuments in his path. He envisions rejection until every door seems to close. He lies awake creating scenes of fear and then wakes to find them materialized. He calls it bad luck. It is perfect obedience. If you would change your life, you must change your pictures. The subconscious cannot read your sentences, but it can see your images. A man who says, "I am successful," while picturing himself struggling and defeated is giving two opposite orders. The stronger one will win, and it is always the picture. The subconscious does not accept abstract words. It responds to form, color, and feeling. To impress an idea upon it, you must dress it in sensory detail. Feel the weight of success. Hear the tone of your confident voice. Smell the air of the room in which your victory occurs. Touch the desk, the handshake, the material symbols of your accomplishment. The clearer the picture, the quicker the result. At night, before sleep, close your eyes and build a definite scene. Let it be vivid but calm. Do not picture money in the abstract. Picture the activity through which it flows to you. See yourself engaged in the work you love, serving others, producing value, receiving reward. See yourself at ease, composed, grateful. Add feeling until the picture becomes alive, until it glows behind your eyelids with the light of certainty. Do not concern yourself with how it will come to pass. The subconscious is not limited by logic. It is connected to infinite intelligence, which arranges details you could never plan. Your task is to provide the image. The law's task is to produce its likeness. You are the artist. Infinite intelligence is the medium that hardens imagination into fact. Consider the story of Walt Disney, who saw worlds long before he could afford to build them. He wandered through orange groves in California, picturing laughter and music where others saw only weeds. His friends called him foolish. Financiers refused him. But his imagination was more real to him than the world they described. He held to his inner vision until it became a place the world could visit. The same law governed the unknown woman who visualized payment for a long overdue debt. Each night she imagined opening her mailbox and seeing the envelope, feeling gratitude and peace. She did not worry or question. She simply rehearsed the scene. In less than a month, a letter arrived with the exact amount owed. Coincidence? No, correspondence. Vague imagination produces vague results. Most people wish but never picture. They send their desires into the universe as half-formed clouds, and the universe returns half-formed outcomes. Be specific. The subconscious loves definiteness. Paint one picture so clearly that you can walk within it, hear its sounds, and sense its reality. When it feels real within, it must become real without. A mental picture must also carry emotion. Cold imagery is lifeless. When you imagine, do so with the warmth of faith. Feel the excitement of completion, the peace of possession, the humility of gratitude. The feeling is the electricity that lights the image. Without it, the picture remains a shadow on the screen of mind. You must also guard the picture during the day. Do not contradict it with idle fear. If doubt arises, return silently to your vision. Let it stand before you as fact. See it again until calm returns. The mind that holds one steady image cannot drift into confusion. Most men fail because they redraw their pictures every hour. Faith in the morning, fear at noon, despair by night. Remember this. Repetition of one image engraves it upon the subconscious. Every time you return to the same scene, you strengthen the line, deepen the color, polish the detail. Soon it will feel so natural that the world must imitate it. The subconscious cannot tell dream from reality. It only knows consistency. Visualization is not daydreaming. Daydreaming is passive. Visualization is command. The daydreamer escapes the world. The visualizer instructs it. The difference is purpose. You must hold your picture with the conviction that you are shaping destiny, not entertaining fantasy. Some men fear that imagination will lead them astray. They call it unpractical. But every practical thing was once a picture in a daring mind. The man who mocks imagination has already surrendered his creative power. He is the clerk of life, not its creator. Do not fear imagination. Discipline it. Use it as a craftsman uses his tool, not as a child uses his toy. When you build your nightly picture, construct it from the position of fulfillment, not desire. Do not see yourself wanting. See yourself having. Wanting keeps the image in the future. Having makes it present. The subconscious only operates in the present. It must believe the scene is happening now. Therefore, build the picture as though you were living it this moment. Add gratitude as the final color. Gratitude seals the image. It tells the subconscious, this is complete. When you feel gratitude before evidence, you declare ownership in the unseen. The law then moves to make the unseen visible. Gratitude is not courtesy, it is creative faith in action. You may wonder why this law works. Because thought, feeling, and image are forms of vibration, and vibration attracts its equal. The clearer and stronger your inner vibration, the more rapidly the outer world organizes around it. You are not forcing events. You are tuning yourself to them. Practice daily. Begin with small scenes until you master the method. Picture a conversation you wish to have, a task completed, a problem solved. Hold the image until you feel satisfaction. When it comes to pass, as it surely will, you will know the law is true. Then apply it to greater aims. Some may say, I have tried to imagine, but I cannot see pictures. Then use words and feeling until the image forms. Describe to yourself what you would see, hear, and feel if your desire were fulfilled. The imagination will obey practice. It is not a rare gift. It is a universal faculty, dulled only by neglect. Every night, enter your picture as a living character. Walk within it as though on stage, performing not to others, but to infinite intelligence. Speak and move as the man who has succeeded. When emotion rises, let it carry you into sleep. The subconscious will take over the performance and continue it until dawn. Each night adds another stroke to the masterpiece. Soon the line between imagination and reality will blur. You will begin to feel as though your dream is the truer world, and your current circumstances are fading echoes. That is the turning point. When the picture within feels more real than the picture without, creation is complete. The outer must now adjust itself. Guard against impatience. A seed takes time to sprout. Though its growth is certain, you cannot dig it up each day to check its progress. Trust the law. Continue building your image nightly. The unseen roots of reality are growing beneath the surface. As your visualization strengthens, you will notice subtle guidance during the day, a sudden idea, a chance meeting, a prompting to act. Follow these impressions without hesitation. They are the bridge between imagination and manifestation. Infinite intelligence works through natural channels, not miracles. The power of mental pictures extends beyond personal gain. When used with integrity, it serves humanity. Picture not only your own advancement, but the good it brings to others. See the faces of those improved by your work, the joy created through your service. This expands your image from self-interest to divine partnership, multiplying its strength tenfold. Consider how great leaders have done this. Lincoln saw a united nation when the world saw division. His image of peace sustained him through war and loss. Carnegie saw an industrial empire employing thousands where others saw molten steel. These men lived from inner pictures so strong that reality had to bend toward them. You can do the same. The world is clay to the man of clear vision. Weak men ask, "What is possible?" Strong men decide what shall be possible and picture it until the world agrees. You need no permission to imagine. Law itself is your permission. Let this be your nightly discipline. Close your eyes. Calm the breath. Recall your definite aim. Build its image in silence. Fill it with gratitude and certainty. When the picture glows vivid and complete, whisper, "This is real in the unseen, and therefore it will be seen." Then sleep, trusting the law. If you awaken in the night, return to the image briefly. Let it replace stray worries. You will fall back to sleep with faith renewed. Each repetition strengthens the groove of belief. In time, you will notice that your outer behavior begins to mirror your picture automatically. You will dress differently, speak differently, plan differently. The subconscious guides action in harmony with its dominant image. Without effort, you become the man you have imagined. Do not attempt to hold too many pictures. Choose one definite theme for each season of your life. Too many images divide force. When one is realized, move to another. Faith grows by success. Lastly, know this truth. A mind without image is a ship without compass. It drifts wherever wind and tide of circumstance carry it. But a mind with a definite picture commands its course even through storms. The universe itself loves the man who knows what he wants, for his clarity gives direction to the creative currents of life. So tonight, take up the brush of imagination and paint deliberately. See yourself living as the master of thought, the architect of destiny. Let the colors of gratitude, peace, and purpose fill your vision. Hold it until it feels real. Then release it into sleep like a message in a bottle cast upon the sea. Infinite intelligence will find it, read it, and return it to you as the life you have imagined. You need no other proof of the law than this. Every fear you ever pictured has found its reflection. Now give faith the same privilege. Paint faith's image with as much detail as you once gave to fear, and watch how swiftly the world conforms. For imagination, disciplined and emotionalized, is not escape from reality. It is the origin of it. You are not dreaming, you are designing. The world you wake to tomorrow will be drawn from the gallery of the pictures you build tonight, and that is the law of mental pictures. To see it clearly, to feel it deeply, to believe it completely, until the unseen becomes the only truth the world can recognize. Beneath the noise of the conscious mind lives a silent worker. It never argues, never sleeps, never questions. It simply obeys. This worker is the subconscious mind, the perfect servant that carries out the commands it is given, whether wise or foolish, noble or fearful. It is the unseen engine behind every act, word, and circumstance. To master life, one must learn not merely to use it, but to govern it. The subconscious has no will of its own. It is pure law, impersonal, precise, obedient. It responds with the same exactness to the seed of faith as to the seed of fear. Whatever you plant, it grows. It holds no moral judgment, no reasoning of what you deserve. It only knows direction. The thoughts repeated with emotion become its orders, and the results are its perfect execution. Most men use this power against themselves. They instruct it daily with words of defeat, emotions of fear, and pictures of limitation. The subconscious, loyal and unthinking, obeys. It arranges conditions, meetings, moods, and habits to fulfill the pattern imprinted upon it. Then man cries out that fate is cruel, when in truth, he himself is the author of his misfortune. To change destiny, you must change command. The conscious mind is the master, the subconscious the servant, but in most lives, the servant has taken charge through the negligence of the master. Thoughts are issued carelessly, feelings are indulged without discipline, and the servant executes confusion with flawless precision. You cannot expect order in the outer world while the inner command is disorderly. Understand this well. The subconscious has created every success and every failure in your life. It carried you to every triumph, and it constructed every obstacle according to its instructions. The universe listens to it, not to your passing moods. You may speak words of success for an hour, but if you feel fear for the rest of the day, the subconscious will obey the fear. Therefore, the first task of mastery is to assume your rightful position as commander. You must begin to think of yourself not as a beggar appealing to chance, but as a ruler issuing decrees to a faithful subject. Every thought you permit is a decree. Every emotion you entertain is an order. If you understood how quickly these orders are obeyed, you would guard them with your life. Observe how perfectly the subconscious serves the body. It regulates heartbeat, repairs tissue, grows bone, digests food, all without your conscious command. You sleep, and it continues. You forget, but it remembers. If it can perform such miracles of precision with the body, can it not also build the circumstances of your fortune? The law that governs health, governs wealth, relationship, opportunity, all things alike. The same mind that heals a wound can also heal a broken financial condition if properly directed. The subconscious is not limited to flesh and blood. It controls vibration, attraction, and energy. It connects you to the whole intelligence of the universe. When you issue it a definite instruction, it summons forces you cannot see, aligns people and events you do not know, and arranges outcomes beyond your immediate reach. But its obedience is blind. It cannot distinguish between the command, "I am poor," and "I am rich." It does not know truth from falsehood. It knows only impression. That is why repetition and emotion are so powerful. They fix the command so deeply that the subconscious cannot deny it. It acts as though it were fact, because to it, it is. A salesman once came to me lamenting that customers had vanished. "Every client avoids me," he said. "I cannot sell a thing." I asked what he thought before visiting a client. "I fear rejection," he confessed. "I imagine failure before I knock on the door." And so the subconscious, loyal and exact, created failure to match his inner rehearsal. When he reversed his thought, when he began to picture buyers welcoming him and affirming, "Every client is eager for my service," sales rose so suddenly that he called it a miracle. But it was only obedience. The subconscious is a perfect mirror. It reflects without judgment whatever image is placed before it. It is like soil that accepts both wheat and poison with equal readiness. The crop depends on the seed. The man who understands this will plant deliberately, and his life will bear deliberate fruit. To command this power, you must first quiet the conscious mind. The subconscious cannot hear amid noise. In silence, in calm, it becomes attentive. That is why suggestion before sleep is most effective. The conscious guard is lowered. The servant listens. Issue your order clearly, simply, and with faith. Do not argue with it. Do not demand evidence. The subconscious does not respond to argument. It responds to certainty. Speak to it as you would to a trusted assistant, confidently, firmly, and with calm expectation. Say, "Tomorrow I awaken with clear ideas that increase my wealth." Say, "Every person I meet is drawn to my assurance and goodwill." Say, "My life is unfolding in perfect order. Abundance flows naturally to me." Then leave it alone. Do not disturb the seed with worry. Let the law work. You will notice subtle signs. Coincidences, intuition, and inspired impulses are the language of the subconscious translating its work into physical life. It may guide your hand toward a book, your step toward an opportunity, or your words toward the right person. Follow these impulses. They are not chance. They are obedience fulfilled. Consider Andrew Carnegie. Long before his empire took form, he affirmed nightly that the right men would appear to help him realize his vision. He did not search in desperation. He expected them calmly. And they came, Frick, Schwab, and others, each drawn by the invisible magnet of his subconscious command. He issued the order through faith, and infinite intelligence carried it out through men of ability. But take heed, the subconscious can just as faithfully obey fear. If you repeat, "I cannot afford this," it will ensure you remain unable. If you dread loss, it will orchestrate loss to justify the emotion. The servant does not judge the wisdom of the master. It only fulfills his tone of command. The wise man therefore trains his tongue, for every careless word is a seed. You may have noticed how quickly children obey suggestion. Tell a child he is brave, and he becomes so. Tell him he is foolish, and he lives down to the description. The subconscious is that child within you, trusting, literal, impressionable. Whatever you tell it long enough, it believes, and believing, it becomes. Therefore, feed it only what you desire, multiplied. If you wish for courage, speak courage. If you wish for wealth, speak wealth. Say nothing you do not want created. Every idle statement carries power. Every casual complaint carries command. Train your language and you will train your life. When an old pattern of fear arises, do not fight it. That gives it attention and strengthens it. Instead, calmly replace it. Speak your new command. Say, "I am guided, I am certain, I am provided for." Repeat it until the fear subsides. The subconscious cannot serve two masters at once. Persist with the new order, and the old one dissolves. Some will ask, how long must I repeat before it works? As long as it takes for the subconscious to accept the order. The duration depends on your conviction. A weak suggestion repeated 1,000 times has less power than one burning thought accepted once with emotion. Intensity shortens time. Doubt lengthens it. Make suggestion a daily ritual. Each morning upon waking, when the mind is still soft and receptive, give it a direction. Each night before sleep, give it a summary of faith. In this way, your subconscious remains under constant governance, and its activity throughout the day and night builds the life you command. Observe your dreams. They often reveal the nature of your current orders. If your dreams are anxious, you have been instructing fear. If they are harmonious, you are aligned with faith. Dreams are the nightly reports of the servant to the master. Adjust your suggestions accordingly. Once trained, the subconscious becomes your greatest ally. It anticipates need, arranges success, and warns of danger. You will begin to sense things before they occur. You will find yourself at the right place with the right people, speaking the right words. Life will appear orchestrated, though you have only learned to direct the conductor. Be patient but persistent. The subconscious is ancient. It holds patterns from years of repetition. Do not expect them to vanish overnight, yet they will fade with steady correction. Each new command weakens the old, until at last the servant forgets former orders entirely and lives only by the new. Write down your instructions. Reading them aloud daily engraves them deeper. Keep them positive, present, and definite. The subconscious does not understand not or don't. Do not say, I am not poor. Say, I am rich. Do not say, I will not fail. Say, I succeed in all I do. Speak in terms of completion, not avoidance. Guard the first 5 minutes upon waking. They are sacred. In those moments, your subconscious is still half open, still impressionable from the night. Do not rush into worry, news, or distraction. Sit in silence, reaffirm your command, visualize your purpose, and carry that vibration into the day. This is how masters of mind begin their mornings, with dominion, not reaction. Remember, emotion is the key that turns the lock. Words spoken without feeling are noise, but a single sentence breathed with faith engraves itself in eternity. Let each repetition be deliberate, each command tinged with certainty. Feel what you say. Feel it as truth. Your subconscious will soon prove its loyalty. As new conditions emerge, acknowledge them with gratitude. Gratitude strengthens the bond between master and servant. Each recognition of progress becomes an invitation for more. Say aloud, I thank the law for obedience. This simple acknowledgement multiplies its willingness to serve. You will also notice a new confidence rising within. This is the natural result of conscious command. When a man realizes his thoughts move the world, hesitation vanishes. He walks with quiet power. He need not boast or force. He knows the law obeys him. Others will sense it. They will defer to his certainty. Employers, clients, and friends will instinctively trust him. Such is the magnetic aura of the man who rules his inner servant. Do not misuse this power. The subconscious carries no morality of its own, but you do. To command harm or selfishness is to set destructive forces in motion that will return upon you multiplied. Law is impartial but exact. It returns to each what he impresses upon it. Therefore, command only that which uplifts, expands, and blesses. What blesses one blesses all, including yourself. In time, your subconscious will act so perfectly in harmony with your conscious purpose that it will seem to anticipate your desires. You will think of a thing, and the thing will begin to move toward you. You will wish for guidance, and the right idea will flash before you. You will feel peace in the presence of decisions, for your inner worker will have already chosen well. This is not superstition, it is science of mind. Every thought vibrates, every vibration attracts its likeness. The subconscious, being the instrument of infinite intelligence, directs these vibrations to fulfillment. When you understand this, you cease to chase success. You summon it. So tonight, as you close your eyes, remember your authority. Speak to your subconscious not as beggar to master, but as master to faithful servant. Say, "You, my mind, are builder of my world. You obey the voice of my faith. Henceforth you work for prosperity, for peace, for purpose. You create through me perfect expression of abundance. You guide my steps, guard my path, and bring forth all that I command in divine order." Say it slowly. Say it until you feel the truth of it. Then rest. The servant begins at once. While you sleep, it works tirelessly, arranging the next day, influencing the next opportunity, harmonizing every condition with the law of your new command. And when you rise in the morning, know that your world is already changing. The invisible worker has not failed you. You have spoken and law has heard. From that moment forward, act as though it were already done. For the subconscious, having received its order, is incapable of delay. The law of subconscious obedience is not new. It is as old as man's first prayer, his first dream, his first thought. Yet few ever learn to use it consciously. Those who do cease living by struggle and begin living by direction. They understand that all labor begins within, and that the mind which rules itself rules destiny. Master this, and you master everything. For the mind that commands its servant can never again be servant to circumstance. True rest is not the mere closing of eyes, it is the surrender of fear. The body may lie still, yet the mind may run in chains through corridors of worry. That is not rest, it is imprisonment. Real rest is faith in motion, a quiet covenant with infinite intelligence that all will be completed, even without your constant grasp. The man who sleeps in faith multiplies his energy. The man who sleeps in fear multiplies his burden. Observe how nature rests. The ocean withdraws in tide only to return fuller. The field sleeps in winter, yet awakens clothed in gold. The seed surrenders to soil, dissolves, and is reborn in strength. This is faithful rest, not escape, not idleness, but intelligent surrender to a law that never fails. The same law waits for you each night, ready to rebuild your strength, sharpen your thought, and arrange your affairs, if you trust it enough to release control. Most men lie down as if preparing for battle. Their beds become council chambers of anxiety. They replay arguments, count debts, measure failures. The conscious mind, unwilling to rest, chains the subconscious to labor without order. The result is exhaustion of both. Fatigue is not caused by work. It is caused by resistance. Worrying while resting is like keeping the engine running in an empty field. Energy burns, progress halts. Faithful rest begins with obedience to a single truth. You are not alone in your labor. The same intelligence that moves planets can move your affairs. The same power that turns night into dawn can turn problems into plans. The moment you truly accept this, sleep becomes sacred. You are no longer abandoning duty. You are transferring it to a higher office. Think of the inventor who wrestles with a stubborn problem. He pushes, studies, struggles, until at last he lays it aside and sleeps. Upon waking, the solution greets him as if whispered in the night. This is not coincidence, it is law. When the conscious mind ceases interference, infinite intelligence enters. The quiet mind receives what the restless mind blocks. Thomas Edison often practiced this very technique. He would doze in his laboratory chair, metal balls in hand, so that as he drifted between waking and sleep, when the doorway of mind stood open, ideas would flash before him. He understood that rest was not withdrawal, but communion. His greatest inventions were born from rest, not strain. Faithful rest is the meeting place between man and the infinite. When you lie down, you should do so with reverence, for in that stillness the universe listens to your last thought. It takes your final command of the day and magnifies it. The mind continues the conversation while you sleep, repeating whatever you gave it. Therefore, choose your closing words wisely. If you end the day muttering defeat, you invite the night to deepen it. If you end with faith, you awaken renewed in victory. Before sleep, practice release. Imagine placing every worry, every unfinished task into the hands of infinite intelligence. Whisper, "You know the way. You guide my affairs while I rest." Then breathe deeply and allow the body to soften. Feel the shoulders sink, the brow smooth, the heartbeat slow. The body follows the mind's lead. When thought rests, muscles obey. Resting in faith is not neglect. It is mastery. It is the recognition that certain work belongs not to you, but to law. You plant, you tend, you act, but you do not force the harvest. Sleep is the nightly harvest of faith. In its soil, unseen roots grow. The man who trusts this process finds each morning bringing him closer to his desires without visible struggle. Abraham Lincoln once said, "I have been driven many times upon my knees by the overwhelming conviction that I had nowhere else to go." He learned the secret of faithful rest amid war and division. After long hours of pressure, he would release his burden through prayer and surrender. His calm was not weakness. It was power drawn from nightly partnership with the infinite. To rest in faith, you must cease arguing with time. Impatience keeps men awake more than noise. They doubt that life is moving fast enough, that plans are working soon enough. But faith does not rush. It knows. The flower does not force its bloom. It opens at appointed hour. The man of faith sleeps in the certainty that all unfolds in perfect order. Each night before you surrender to sleep, declare aloud, "The same power that governs stars governs my affairs. I rest in harmony with divine order. My life unfolds perfectly as I trust it." Repeat it slowly until the words feel true. Feel the weight lifting from your chest, the mind unclenching its grip. The law cannot work through tension. It requires calm as conductor requires silence before music begins. During faithful rest, the subconscious mind repairs not only the body, but the pattern of destiny. It reviews the impressions of the day, discards confusion, strengthens conviction, and arranges new ideas for morning insight. You awake with clarity because you allowed order to reassemble itself in the night. Sleep is the universe's nightly reset, its gift to those who trust. The man who cannot rest is a man who doubts. His tossing and turning are the body's protest against mistrust. His sleeplessness is not caused by trouble, but by disbelief that trouble can be solved. When faith returns, sleep follows as naturally as breath. Consider your own nights. How often have you rehearsed worry under the guise of thinking? How often have you tried to plan from fatigue, achieving only confusion? Planning is for daylight. Faith is for night. Daytime is man's labor. Nighttime is God's. Those who blur the two exhaust themselves through duplication of effort. Faithful rest is the courage to close the book for the day. You say to yourself, "My part is done. The rest belongs to law." This mental gesture releases a torrent of unseen activity. The same intelligence that grows crops and guides seasons begins to coordinate your affairs. It may speak through intuition, through coincidence, through sudden opportunity, but it cannot speak until you sleep. Imagine a banker locking his vault at night. He does not pace in fear that thieves will enter. He trusts the lock, the system, the guards. Likewise, you must lock your mental vault with faith and walk away. Trust that infinite intelligence guards your treasure. If you cannot yet believe fully, act as if you do. The feeling will follow the posture. Faith begins in imitation and ends in certainty. Many people destroy their health through lack of faith and rest. They glorify exhaustion as virtue, boasting of sleepless effort. Yet the greatest creators, Carnegie, Edison, Ford, understood that rhythm, not strain, sustains achievement. They worked intensely, then rested completely. Each morning they returned renewed, as if wealth itself flowed through their veins. They had learned to draw from infinite intelligence through rest. Gratitude is the door to restful sleep. It is impossible to feel both gratitude and anxiety. One cancels the other. Before you close your eyes, count blessings instead of burdens. Say, I thank life for another day of opportunity. I thank my mind for its strength, my body for its service, my faith for its constancy. As you do, you will feel peace spreading through every cell. Gratitude aligns you with abundance. Fear aligns you with scarcity. Sleep upon gratitude, and you will rise upon prosperity. Do not carry unfinished arguments, resentments, or regrets into the night. They poison rest. The mind that forgives before sleep awakens lighter, for it has released the weights that delay progress. If a wrong has been done to you, bless the offender silently. Say, you too are learning. May you find wisdom. This dissolves bitterness and opens channels for wealth to return to you unimpeded. Faithful rest is also mental hygiene. Just as the body needs cleansing, the mind must be purified nightly of fear, envy, and complaint. Each of these is dust upon the lens through which tomorrow's light must pass. Wash them away with the water of faith. Visualize yourself standing beneath a stream of calm white light, washing away worry. When the mind is clean, sleep enters easily. You may have noticed that the first thought upon waking often carries the tone of the entire day. That thought is chosen in the final moments before sleep. You decide at night whether to rise rich or poor in spirit. Therefore, never end the day with defeat. Even if difficulties press upon you, affirm, this too shall serve my growth. Tomorrow brings new channels for success. Thus you plant victory in the soil of sleep. There are those who say they cannot sleep because of ambition, that their minds burn with ideas. But even creation requires rest, as the furnace must cool to strengthen steel. You will accomplish more by trusting inspiration to return after rest than by forcing thought when weary. Rest is not interruption of work. It is the invisible half of it. When you lie down, imagine infinite intelligence surrounding you like a vast current of light. Feel yourself dissolving into that current. No separation, no effort, only oneness with power. Whisper, the universe thinks through me. It now completes what I have begun. The more you practice this, the quicker sleep will come and the deeper it will restore. Some awaken in the night with sudden anxiety. Do not rise in panic. Remain still, breathe slowly, and repeat your affirmation. The subconscious is merely testing the firmness of your faith. Reassure it with calmness, and it will resume its faithful work. If you rise, write down any thought or inspiration, then return to rest. The law never wakes you without purpose. In time, your nights will become holy hours of creation. You will look forward to sleep not as escape, but as audience with the infinite. Each evening becomes a sacred meeting where you hand your plans to the unseen engineer of success. The fear of failure fades, for you know that no effort rests unfinished when entrusted to this law. How will others see the man who practices faithful rest? They will notice serenity even in his busiest days. He will move without haste, speak without tension, and decide without doubt. His energy will seem endless because it is renewed at the source each night. While others wake drained, he wakes radiant. They will call him fortunate, but fortune is only the visible shadow of faith. Remember this principle. No man can live richly by day who does not rest richly by night. Wealth is a rhythm. Intake and outflow, work and rest, command and surrender. To deny either side is to invite imbalance. The man who rests faithfully multiplies power. The man who fears rest dissipates it. You may begin tonight. Before lying down, set aside all burdens. Speak to yourself as master to servant. Now I rest. My work is complete. Infinite intelligence finishes what I have begun. All things move toward my good while I sleep. Say it once, mean it fully, and release. Trust that the unseen begins its labor. In the morning, do not rush to confirm results. Rise calmly, grateful, expectant. You will find new ideas waiting at the edge of consciousness, solutions that formed quietly in the night. Write them down before activity distracts you. These are gifts of rest, answers from the unseen architect who worked while you trusted. The rhythm of creation is faith and release, effort and repose. You cannot hold both at once. Work as though everything depends on you. Rest as though everything depends on God. Between these two poles flows infinite strength. So tonight, close your eyes with reverence. Let go of control, not from weakness, but from mastery. Say within, I have done my part. Now law does the rest. Feel peace descend as gentle rain upon the fields of thought. Know that each seed of faith you planted will sprout while you sleep. When you understand the law of faithful rest, fear of tomorrow ends forever. You will no longer chase solutions in panic. You will command them in peace. Sleep will become not oblivion, but partnership, not absence, but creation. You will wake each morning as if born anew, mind clear, heart calm, destiny advancing. For he who trusts the night to infinite intelligence never wakes to lack. Morning is the silent witness of what you planted in the night. Whatever thoughts you fell asleep holding are now roots in the soil of the subconscious, and dawn reveals their first tender sprouts. Most men wake in confusion because they went to bed without instruction. Their minds spent the night wandering aimlessly through corridors of fear and memory. But the man who ended his day with faith rises not as he was, but renewed, ordered, charged with invisible purpose. The hour of waking is sacred. It is the bridge between two worlds, the unseen and the seen, the dream and the day. In that moment, the subconscious delivers the report of its nightly labor. Ideas surface, feelings arise, intuitions whisper. The man who rushes to noise or distraction misses this report. The man who listens receives guidance enough for the entire day. You must learn to wake deliberately. To rise with awareness is to claim your crown before the world distracts you from it. Do not leap from bed as though fleeing battle. Open your eyes slowly, breathe deeply, and remember, the law has worked through the night. Infinite intelligence has been building while you rested. The first thought you choose now will seal the pattern for the hours ahead. Say within yourself, I awaken as master of this day. All that I have affirmed has been set in motion. I meet every hour in calm assurance. Let this thought be your first act of resurrection. You are not waking to the same world you left. It has been rearranged in your favor. Believe this, and you will feel an immediate surge of quiet power. Faithful rest is completed only by faithful rising, night plants, morning harvests. The law cannot deliver fruit to a man who refuses to gather it. Action must follow rest, just as dawn must follow darkness. The first step of the day should therefore carry the vibration of decision. Move slowly, but with purpose. Every gesture should declare, I know what I am about. The morning is the mirror of the soul. If you rise in haste, you carry confusion into every task. If you rise with order, the world arranges itself in response. That is why the wise begin their day in silence, not from superstition, but from knowledge that silence is strength. In the hush before the world awakens, you meet your Maker. In that communion, plans for the day are impressed upon your mind. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Morning is that sharpening. The man who begins in order wastes no effort later. Each thought, word, and movement is guided by the clarity born from faithful rest. The mind, refreshed by trust, no longer reacts, it directs. The first minute after waking is the key that locks or unlocks the day. Most men use it to remember their burdens. They recall unpaid bills, harsh words, unfinished tasks, and thus summon back the energy of defeat. The law, faithful as ever, reproduces those conditions throughout the day. But the man who fills his first minute with gratitude and command turns the law to his advantage. Say aloud, This day unfolds in my favor. I am guided, protected, and prospered. Every meeting, every moment serves my advancement. Speak it slowly, not as wish, but as decree. Let emotion accompany it until the words vibrate in the body. This simple ritual engraves success upon the subconscious anew, ensuring that the invisible worker continues its perfect obedience. At dawn, the subconscious mind still lingers near the surface, half dreaming, half awake. It is then most receptive to reinforcement. That is why morning meditation, prayer, or affirmation holds such power. The conscious mind is not yet crowded with the noise of the world, and the impressions you make at this time will govern your mood, decisions, and opportunities until nightfall. Carnegie once told a young associate, "Before you meet men, meet yourself." He meant that every morning should begin with a private conference between you and your mind. Ask silently, "What is required of me today? How shall I serve my purpose best?" Listen. The answer may come as a feeling, an image, a clear directive. Write it down and honor it. Such inner instructions are not imagination. They are communications from the same infinite intelligence that moves tides and seasons. In this quiet dialogue, review your definite chief aim. Read it aloud or visualize it until it feels once more alive. Each morning you renew your vow with life itself, to live consciously, to think richly, to act decisively. You are not merely starting a day, you are continuing creation. Remember that gratitude is the morning sun of the soul. The man who begins his day in appreciation multiplies every blessing. The man who begins in complaint poisons his harvest before it begins. Gratitude turns perception toward sufficiency. It reminds you that you are already rich in opportunity, ideas, and time. From that awareness, creative action flows naturally. If you wish to keep the mind steady throughout the day, connect your morning gratitude to movement. Rise and walk slowly, breathing deeply. Feel the ground under your feet as symbol of the stability beneath your life. Let each breath affirm, "I draw power from the infinite source." Physical movement anchors mental command. The subconscious learns best through rhythm. Walking with purpose reinforces the cadence of faith. The man who wakes in faith carries an invisible atmosphere. You can feel it before he speaks. His presence announces order. His tone commands confidence. People instinctively defer to him because he radiates quiet assurance. This is no mystery. It is the magnetic effect of harmony between conscious and subconscious. Having aligned himself at dawn, his actions throughout the day carry the authority of divine timing. You must also learn the discipline of mental hygiene in the morning. Before opening letters, news, or conversation, strengthen your inner defense. The world will rush to impose its chaos upon you, but you are no longer its servant. Build your shield through a few moments of meditation. Imagine yourself surrounded by light, impenetrable to fear. Affirm, "I move through this day untouched by confusion. Every situation bends to order." Those who begin their day in this way discover that outer circumstances become strangely cooperative. Events align, obstacles dissolve, opportunities appear. What others call coincidence is merely correspondence between the inner command and the outer law. Think of Henry Ford walking through his factory floors at dawn. Workers reported that his mere presence increased their speed and precision. He seldom spoke, yet his quiet certainty affected thousands. This was no charisma born of luck. It was the byproduct of inner alignment. Ford began each day with faith in order, and his empire mirrored that order in steel and motion. As the morning progresses, carry your faith into activity. Turn your affirmations into deeds. Begin with one small act that symbolizes dominion, organizing your workspace, planning your schedule, or sending a purposeful message. Such outward expression anchors the inner conviction. The subconscious measures belief by behavior. When you act as though you are master, it intensifies its obedience. Avoid beginning the day in idle talk or gossip. Each careless word scatters the power you gathered overnight. Silence in the early hours is like still water. It reflects truth. Speak only what serves purpose. The man who conserves his words in the morning commands greater influence later. Some men complain that mornings feel heavy, that enthusiasm fades with dawn. This is because they filled their nights with worry. The mind cannot resurrect joy from ashes of fear, but once you train your nights to obey faith, morning becomes rebirth. You wake light because the burden of control has been lifted to higher law. There is an old saying, you cannot start the day wrong and expect to end it right. The morning sets momentum. If you spend it in confusion, the hours will multiply confusion. But if you spend it in direction, even setbacks will serve your advantage. Make the first hour of the day your private kingdom. Guard it from intrusion. What you build there will govern the remaining 23. Some find benefit in writing their intentions upon waking. A short paragraph stating what shall be accomplished, how one shall think, and how one shall feel. This transforms vague wish into definite decree. Read it aloud and feel ownership. The subconscious records such written words as law and circumstances adjust accordingly. As you move through the day, recall your morning command whenever challenge arises. You need not repeat lengthy affirmations. Only remember the feeling with which you began. That feeling is your compass. When doubt appears, return mentally to the calm certainty of dawn. The vibration of that moment is still within you. It will restore order instantly. To keep faith active, pause midday for 1 minute of stillness. Close your eyes, breathe, and remember your morning decree. Whisper, the law continues to work. I remain its master. This habit strengthens the thread between morning intention and evening gratitude, completing the circle of creation. By now you understand that sleep and wakefulness are not separate. They are alternating halves of one creative process. Night impresses, morning expresses. The wise man lives in rhythm with both. He speaks his command at night, receives instruction in the morning, and acts by day. There is no division between his prayers and his performance. How will others perceive you once you master morning resurrection? They will sense stability. They will trust your word because your presence feels certain. They will feel drawn to your composure, your pace, your focus. Opportunities will find you because the world seeks those who carry assurance. You will no longer need to chase fortune. It will follow your order. The man who greets dawn in faith greets fortune itself. Each sunrise becomes a covenant renewed between him and law. He understands that every new day is proof that infinite intelligence has not forgotten him. It has prepared new channels for his growth. Gratitude for this knowledge alone is wealth. Before stepping into the noise of the world, take one final moment to look inward. Say, I am guided from within. My steps are ordered. The world responds to my certainty. Then, step out with steady gait. Do not rush. Let motion follow conviction. People will part before you as waters before a vessel in command. Do not confuse confidence with arrogance. Arrogance is faith in self alone. Confidence is faith in law. The former isolates, the latter unites. When your faith rests in law, humility accompanies strength. You no longer compete, you contribute. You no longer strive, you express. This quiet power marks the man who has learned resurrection. Every sunrise also calls for renewal of service. Wealth is not hoarded but circulated through usefulness. Ask each morning, whom may I serve better today? This question aligns your abundance with divine flow. The subconscious loves purpose. It magnifies whatever benefits many. Through service, you ensure that the law continues to support you, for the universe rewards what sustains harmony. As day unfolds, do not expect perfection of circumstance, but perfection of opportunity within circumstance. Challenges may appear, yet each carries its lesson. The morning-trained mind meets them as sculptor meets raw stone, confident that shape will emerge. Because you have already decided who you are, no event can unmake you. When dusk approaches, remember to close the day as you began, with gratitude and command. Review your triumphs with humility, your mistakes with wisdom, and prepare to sow again at night. This completes the rhythm. Night's faith becomes morning's action. Morning's action becomes night's harvest. The man who keeps this rhythm walks perpetually in progress. Each dawn you are reborn from the womb of sleep. You are given fresh time, fresh thought, fresh opportunity. Treat it as sacred. Do not drag yesterday into it like chains. The past ended at midnight. Creation begins again at sunrise. So when you open your eyes tomorrow, pause before the world rushes in. Feel the breath of life filling you with strength. Whisper to yourself, I rise new, I rise directed, I rise abundant. Smile, not from hope, but from certainty. Then go forth and live the proof of your faith. For he who masters the morning masters the world. The mind, like a garden, requires constant tending. No matter how fertile the soil, neglect invites weeds. The same law governs belief. Once an idea of wealth is planted, it must be watered daily with faith, repetition, and emotion. Without continual reinforcement, even the strongest conviction withers. The subconscious never stops listening. If you do not speak faith to it, the world will speak fear. Continual reinforcement is the discipline that separates those who briefly awaken from those who stay awake. Many experience moments of power, after hearing truth, after victory, after prayer. But soon the rhythm of doubt returns, eroding what they built. The mind falls back to its old pattern because repetition sustains identity. To live differently, one must repeat differently, deliberately, until new thought becomes nature. The subconscious is like clay that hardens in the mold of repetition. A single thought leaves only an impression. Repeated thought engraves a channel. Each night and morning you must pour your belief through that channel until it deepens into certainty. Then, even when you are not thinking of wealth, your mind continues to act from it. Habit becomes master in your absence. Understand this truth. The old patterns do not vanish. They are replaced. The imagination cannot hold two images at once. The stronger displaces the weaker. Therefore, your duty is not to fight the past, but to reinforce the future until it dominates. Fighting old fears feeds them attention. Repeating new faith starves them. Each affirmation, each visualization, each calm recollection of purpose is a strike upon the anvil of destiny. Do not despise repetition. It is not weakness. It is the secret by which infinite intelligence builds worlds. The planets repeat their orbits. The tides repeat their dance. The seasons repeat their rhythm. Repetition is law in motion. The same power that keeps the universe in order will keep your life in order if you align with its rhythm. The reason so few achieve mastery is that they mistake repetition for monotony. They grow impatient for results, abandon their practice, and return to drift. But faith matures like fruit. It ripens in silence, invisible at first. You may see no change for days or weeks, yet deep beneath awareness, thought is crystallizing into form. The wise man reinforces his faith daily, knowing the unseen always precedes the seen. Let me tell you of a banker who once lost everything in a panic. His fortune, his home, his reputation, all swept away in a storm of fear. Yet each morning he stood before his mirror and repeated, "My calm is wealth. My confidence rebuilds my empire." His friends called him deluded, but his mind obeyed the law, not their laughter. Within 2 years, opportunity returned to him, greater than before. He had rebuilt not by luck, but by continual reinforcement of calm belief. You must choose your statement of power and repeat it until the world cannot make you forget. Whether it be, "I am guided by law," or wealth flows through me in order, or I serve and am richly rewarded. Hold it as your personal decree. Let it echo through your mornings, your walks, your silent moments. The words are seeds, repetition is sunlight, emotion is water. Together, they build forests of fortune. Some will say, but I already know these truths. Knowing is not enough. Remembering is mastery. The mind forgets as easily as it learns. That is why great teachers, soldiers, and leaders rehearse the same principles daily, not for novelty, but for strength. Repetition drives knowledge from intellect into instinct, from theory into being. When belief becomes instinct, life becomes effortless. Every man has two habits at war within him, the habit of drifting and the habit of direction. The first demands nothing but passivity. The second requires constant reinforcement. Drift waits for no man. It creeps back the moment you cease vigilance. You cannot rest upon a single victory. You must renew your thought as you renew your breath. Faith unguarded is faith lost. Continual reinforcement is not mechanical chanting. It is renewal of inner fire. The wise man varies his methods to keep faith alive. Some days he writes his affirmations by hand, watching ink turn thought into matter. Some days he speaks them aloud, feeling words vibrate through his chest. Some days he visualizes results as already attained. Each method keeps belief vivid, and vivid belief commands results. Every evening, review the day not for failure but for confirmation. Ask, where did my faith hold firm? Where did it waver? Praise yourself for moments of strength. Forgive weakness, but replace it at once with new command. In this way, you convert even error into reinforcement. Each correction deepens conviction. Persistence is proof of sincerity. The universe does not respond to occasional enthusiasm. It responds to consistent intention. Even water, gentle and formless, cuts through rock by persistence alone. Let your faith be as that water, soft but ceaseless. The man who reinforces his belief daily will find even the hardest circumstance yielding to him. The subconscious measures your seriousness not by what you say once, but by what you say always. One affirmation spoken for a year is more potent than 1,000 scattered statements uttered without discipline. You must therefore make repetition a ritual, not a reaction. Choose specific times upon waking before sleep and once more in the day to renew your thought. These are the anchors that steady the ship of mind amid every storm. I once asked an old craftsman how he kept his tools shining after decades of use. He smiled and said, "Because I polish them a little each day." The same principle preserves the mind. Daily polishing through repetition keeps faith bright. Neglect dulls it, and dullness invites rust. A man with rusty faith cannot carve his destiny. You may feel at times that your reinforcement grows weary, that enthusiasm fades. This is the test of mastery. When repetition feels dull, it means the subconscious is resisting change. Press on. The very monotony you despise is the pressure that molds new habit. Soon, what was forced becomes natural. The mind will then repeat the truth without effort, and that is freedom. Write your affirmations upon cards or papers and place them where your eyes often fall, upon the desk, the mirror, the door. Each glance renews command. Surround your environment with symbols of faith, a book, a phrase, a vision board. These reminders are silent teachers, whispering truth when you forget. The subconscious loves familiarity. Fill your surroundings with what you wish it to believe. Reinforcement must include gratitude. Each time life responds to your faith, however small the result, give thanks. Gratitude stamps approval upon belief. It tells the subconscious, this is right. Continue. Through gratitude, reinforcement becomes joy rather than duty. Another form of reinforcement is service. Each act of generosity affirms abundance. When you give sincerely, you proclaim to the subconscious, I have enough to share. The law echoes this declaration by sending more. Thus, repetition need not be confined to words. Deeds themselves are affirmations made visible. Remember that doubt is repetition in reverse. Every time you repeat fear, you reinforce limitation. Therefore, when worry arises, do not argue. Replace it immediately. Say calmly, "This too shall pass. My faith remains." The quicker you replace, the weaker the fears hold. Repetition of courage dissolves repetition of doubt. Consider how a musician masters his craft. He practices scales daily, not because he enjoys repetition, but because mastery demands it. When performance time comes, he does not think of technique. It flows automatically. So it must be with wealth consciousness. Practice faith daily until it becomes spontaneous. Then, in moments of crisis, your mind will play harmony instead of discord. Persistence transforms expectation into law. When you repeat something long enough, you cease hoping. It becomes assumption. Assumption is faith fulfilled. The subconscious obeys assumption as it obeys gravity. It cannot resist. That is why continual reinforcement matters. It transforms fragile belief into immutable law. Let me give you an image. Imagine a mountain stream carving its path through stone. Each drop seems powerless, but over years the rock yields. Your repeated thought is such a drop. Every affirmation carves deeper into the substance of reality. One day the dam breaks and abundance flows freely. Men call it sudden success, but it was years of quiet reinforcement that broke the barrier. How will others perceive the man of reinforced faith? They will find him unshakable. His calm will unsettle the restless. His patience will command respect. In discussion, he listens fully before speaking, for his mind no longer scrambles for security. His words carry weight because they arise from conviction, not argument. Even in silence, he influences. Continual reinforcement also refines intuition. As faith grows habitual, the mind becomes more sensitive to guidance. You will notice yourself anticipating opportunities, avoiding mistakes before they form, attracting allies who share your rhythm. These are not coincidences, they are harmonies of thought. The more you reinforce belief, the more reality tunes itself to your melody. You may wonder, how long must I persist? Until reinforcement is no longer effort but delight, until faith feels as natural as breath. The moment you enjoy the process, you are free, for enjoyment is proof that belief has taken root. To assist persistence, create a rhythm of 7 days. Dedicate each day to a specific reinforcement. Gratitude on Monday, calm on Tuesday, courage on Wednesday, generosity on Thursday, order on Friday, rest on Saturday, renewal on Sunday. This variety prevents stagnation while maintaining focus. The subconscious loves pattern. Weekly rhythm deepens its obedience. Never permit a day to end without reasserting your faith. Even a single evening of neglect invites old habits to whisper again. Repetition is the armor of the soul. Each nightly affirmation is a polishing of the shield. Each morning, repetition, a sharpening of the sword. Thus armed, no circumstance can defeat you. Do not be discouraged by setbacks. They are signs of transition, not failure. When new belief confronts old pattern, the clash often manifests as temporary difficulty. Persist through it. Continual reinforcement will outlast all resistance. When doubt returns, smile at it as one might at an old acquaintance who no longer has power. Say within, I have chosen a new master. Let us close this law with an affirmation that embodies the spirit of persistence. Each day I strengthen the truth within me. My faith grows unbroken. My mind repeats prosperity until it becomes my nature. Every word I speak is reinforcement of success. Say this often until its rhythm becomes heartbeat. Remember, the mind is not conquered by force, but by consistency. Continual reinforcement is not merely exercise, it is devotion. It is the daily worship of the law that made you. Through this practice, you build a fortress no storm can shake, and when at last you look upon your life transformed, when abundance flows, peace abides, and others call you blessed, You will know it was not chance nor a single act, but the quiet persistence of faith, renewed day after day, year after year. That is the unseen labor of greatness. For the man who reinforces truth daily cannot remain poor, cannot remain fearful, cannot remain ordinary. He becomes what he repeats, and he repeats wealth. There comes a moment when repetition, faith, emotion, and identity fuse into permanence. The mind ceases striving to believe and begins simply to be. What was once effort becomes ease. What was once discipline becomes nature. This is the law of permanent transformation, the point where you no longer practice wealth consciousness, because you have become wealth consciousness itself. Transformation is not a flash of excitement. It is not a surge of temporary power after hearing truth. It is the slow, deliberate replacement of every old pattern by one unbreakable conviction. I am cause. When this conviction settles into the deepest layer of mind, life bends to it as surely as iron bends to magnet. Poverty cannot enter, for it no longer finds recognition. The outer world always reflects the inner, and once the inner accepts prosperity as its birthright, permanence begins. This final law is the union of all previous ones. Nightly impression trains the subconscious to receive command. Definite identity provides the mold. Emotional agreement gives heat to the process. Repetition hardens the structure. Faithful rest seals it, and morning resurrection expresses it. Through continual reinforcement, the pattern becomes fixed. Permanent transformation is that fixed pattern, unshakable even in storm. The world calls such men lucky, but they are simply complete. They no longer try to think richly. They cannot think otherwise. Their speech, their walk, their decisions all flow from a center of order so deep that no external event can disturb it. The sea may roar around them, but they remain the unmoved rock beneath it. To understand this law, imagine the growth of an oak. It begins as a fragile sprout, easily bent by wind. But season after season, its roots deepen. Every storm that shakes it strengthens it. Finally, it becomes so firm that only an axe can fell it. So it is with faith. In the beginning, every doubt shakes you. Later, doubts become nourishment. Each challenge you overcome feeds permanence. Permanent transformation requires total acceptance of law. You must cease wondering whether it works and begin using it as naturally as breathing. You do not question whether gravity will hold you tomorrow. You trust it. So must you trust the law of thought. Once you know that every idea, spoken with emotion and faith becomes fact, hesitation dies. The man who has reached this stage lives in certainty. Let us look upon examples of this law made visible. Andrew Carnegie began as a telegraph clerk earning a few dollars a week. But within him existed an idea he never doubted, that he was destined to command great enterprises. He repeated this belief so consistently that men of greater means began to believe it too. His confidence spread like flame. When fortune came, it merely confirmed what he already knew. His transformation was permanent because his identity had been molded long before wealth arrived. Another illustration, Thomas Edison. Long before fame, he had adopted the identity of an inventor. Failure could not dislodge it. Each experiment that failed simply refined the vision. His self-image as creator was so fixed that even blindness to immediate results could not move him. That is permanent transformation, to remain inwardly unmoved while outward conditions shift. To reach this level, you must understand that transformation is not a single event. It is a state of consciousness maintained. The subconscious mind operates upon whatever is impressed upon it most deeply and most often. Once a belief is impressed beyond question, it becomes the silent governor of destiny. You may no longer even notice the faith that sustains you, for it has merged with your identity. You act upon it without thought. Permanent transformation is the point where repetition ceases because completion has been reached. Yet even then, gratitude must continue. Gratitude is the signature that seals your new state. Each morning, give thanks not only for visible blessings, but for the invisible law that sustains them. Gratitude is both lock and key. It secures and expands wealth simultaneously. Let your gratitude be definite. Say not only, I am thankful, but specify, I am thankful that my mind is steady, that my work prospers, that my faith stands firm. By naming blessings, you reinforce identity as their rightful owner. The subconscious accepts these as daily affirmations of truth, renewing permanence. The man transformed no longer asks how things will come to pass. He acts from assurance that they already have. His mind deals only with cause. Effect follows automatically. This inner assurance is faith matured. It no longer struggles. It knows. And because it knows, it commands with calmness rather than strain. To reach such calm, you must have passed through discipline. There are no shortcuts to permanence. You cannot borrow another man's certainty or inherit another man's faith. It must be built from within by your own persistence. Each repetition of truth is a brick in the temple, each act of faith a beam of support. When the structure stands complete, it cannot fall, for it is built upon law itself. The world will test you to confirm your mastery. Circumstances may seem to contradict your inner wealth. Bills may appear, opportunities may delay, friends may doubt. These are the final examinations before permanence. The immature mind reacts, the mature mind remains steady. Every test, once passed without fear, closes another gate behind you. You can never return to poverty of thought again. You will know you have reached transformation when money ceases to be your central concern. You will handle it wisely, but it will no longer rule your emotion. You will no longer measure life by figures, but by freedom. Money will become a servant, not a symbol. The mind that once chased it will now attract it effortlessly, because service, faith, and order have replaced fear. Consider again the principle of cosmic habit force, the invisible rhythm by which all habits, once formed, perpetuate themselves. When you have repeated faith long enough, faith becomes self-sustaining. It renews itself without conscious effort. Just as the heart beats without command, your faith will continue working beneath awareness, creating prosperity while you go about your day. That is permanent transformation. Faith turned reflex. At this stage, even adversity works for you. Because you no longer interpret challenge as loss, the law translates every difficulty into gain. A delayed payment becomes opportunity to invent a better plan. A closed door becomes redirection to a better one. The transformed mind sees benefit in all things because it has trained itself to expect nothing else. To secure this state, maintain mental cleanliness. Do not allow the dust of negative suggestion to settle. Avoid idle talk about lack or misfortune. The subconscious, though obedient, is still impressionable. If you entertain doubt long, it will attempt to serve it. Therefore, guard the portals of thought as you would guard your fortune. Associate only with those who think constructively, who speak with faith and action. Their vibration strengthens your own. The man of permanent transformation becomes magnetic. Others feel peace in his presence. His calm infects the nervous. His confidence reassures the uncertain. He does not preach wealth, he embodies it. His silence carries more influence than another's speeches. People sense in him stability, as though he were rooted in something deeper than circumstance. That something is law realized. The subconscious of such a man no longer accepts contradiction. He could attempt to imagine failure, but the image would fade before it formed. He has become immune to fear, not by denial, but by replacement. The old self that feared has been absorbed into the new self that knows. This is what Scripture means by a new creature. Transformation is the death of limitation and the birth of dominion. To live in this state is not to retire from effort, but to enjoy effortless effort. Work becomes play, decisions become instinct, relationships become harmony. You no longer push the world, it flows to meet you. The external becomes mirror of the internal, clear and faithful. You walk through life as architect among his own creations, adjusting by thought, building by faith, expanding by gratitude. Permanent transformation expresses itself through generosity. When a man has mastered law, his first desire is to share it, not from pride, but from overflow. Abundance demands circulation. You will find yourself drawn to teach, to guide, to uplift. Do so freely. Each act of service anchors your prosperity deeper, for you cannot give from fullness without increasing it. Let me remind you of a truth. Wealth, held selfishly, becomes a burden. Wealth, expressed through service, becomes peace. The permanently transformed man sees his riches not as possessions, but as instruments of progress. He uses them to refine his environment, educate others, support beauty, and inspire vision. Thus he lives as channel, not container. The law rewards him endlessly because he keeps its current open. Guard also against spiritual pride. When fortune multiplies, some believe they have outgrown discipline. They cease reinforcing gratitude, cease directing thought, and slowly drift into complacency. Remember, permanence is not stagnation. It is living growth. Continue studying, imagining, improving. The tree that stops growing begins to die, though its trunk looks firm. So must you keep expanding consciousness forever. Now let us speak of how to maintain this state under change. Life will evolve, bringing new responsibilities. Each increase requires enlargement of mind. Meet new success, not with tension, but with calm expansion. Say to yourself, this too is natural. This too is law. By accepting increase without surprise, you demonstrate mastery. In this stage, prayer becomes thanksgiving. You no longer ask. You recognize. You no longer beg. You claim. You look upon each event and say, this too is proof of divine order. Gratitude becomes your constant attitude. Peace, your natural expression. There is an unmistakable aura about those who reach this level. Look at men like Ford, Edison, Lincoln, Carnegie. Their faces in later years carried serenity, not struggle. They had seen law confirmed too many times to doubt it again. Their faith had become identical with fact. That serenity can be yours, for it springs from the same source within you. Permanent transformation culminates in realization that you and infinite intelligence are not separate. You are an expression of that power, individualized to fulfill a unique purpose. When this understanding dawns, fear vanishes entirely. You walk as co-creator, not as supplicant. You recognize every experience as cooperation between your will and the divine will, between your purpose and universal purpose. Speak this final affirmation nightly until it becomes your breath. I have become the wealth I once sought. My mind is the center of order, my thought the instrument of creation. All that I need flows to me by law, for I and abundance are one. Do not repeat it as hope. Speak it as recognition. Let emotion fill it. Then let silence follow, as if signing a covenant with eternity. When you live in this awareness, time itself becomes ally. Each hour adds to your fortune. Each challenge refines your wisdom. You cease measuring progress by events, for progress has become your nature. Life itself serves you because you serve its law. Thus ends the journey from ignorance to mastery, from fear to faith, from striving to being. The man who began by listening in the night now speaks to the infinite with every thought. He has trained the subconscious to build only what he commands. He has turned sleep into creation, thought into wealth, life into harmony. He is no longer a seeker of truth, he is truth in action. So remember this eternal principle. Once the mind accepts abundance as identity, that abundance becomes permanent possession. Circumstance may shift, fortune may ebb and flow, but the consciousness of wealth remains fixed, recreating supply as easily as lungs draw air. Nothing can destroy it, for it lives not in numbers, but in being. And as you close this final lesson, let these words echo. I rest as master of thought. I wake as ruler of day. My riches are assured, for I have become them. Hold them not as poetry, but as fact. Live them until every cell of your being obeys them. Then you will understand why I have said from the beginning, the world belongs to the man who commands his mind, and he commands it not once, but forever. For wealth once born in consciousness is eternal. There comes a moment, if you have listened deeply, when these words cease to sound like instruction and begin to feel like remembrance, as though something within you, ancient, wise, patient, had been waiting for this truth to be spoken again. That part of you now awakens. It stirs like a giant rising from centuries of slumber, realizing it was never small, never broken, never poor, only sleeping. Everything you have heard, every law, every command, every affirmation has been guiding you toward one realization. You are the master of thought. All the power you once sought in circumstances, in labor, in luck, in the opinions of others, lies within that truth. Thought is the only real capital. All else is its offspring, wealth, opportunity, influence, peace. And now, at the end of this long instruction, you must understand not only the principles, but their spirit. We began with the night because the night is honest. In the darkness, when the world sleeps, there are no masks to wear. You are alone with yourself, the thoughts you have built, the fears you have nursed, the beliefs you have carried. Every empire begins in that stillness. Every ruin begins there too. It is in the silence of your own mind that the seeds of destiny are sown. You were told that your nights have been working against you, that the mind you neglect before sleep becomes your silent master. Now you know why. The subconscious never rests. It builds from whatever material you feed it. And most men, in their ignorance, feed it worry, shame, regret, self-doubt. Then they wake confused, wondering why their days repeat yesterday's struggle. But the wise man, the awakened man, feeds his mind with command. He speaks law before rest. He impresses definiteness upon his inner world, and the world without obeys. Think of the vast difference between these two lives. One drifts through years reacting to chance, always seeking evidence before believing. The other shapes the unseen first, knowing that faith is evidence enough. The first man serves conditions, the second commands them. The first blames, the second builds. The first prays as a beggar, the second prays as a creator. Both speak words into the night, but one speaks in fear, and the other in law. You must become the latter. Every night from this moment forward, treat your mind as sacred soil. Do not let weeds of fear fall upon it. Speak to it with calm authority, as master to servant, as creator to creation. Impress upon it the image of who you are, not who you wish to be, not who the world says you are, but who you decide to be. And what should you decide? Decide that you are abundant, that your mind is organized, that your purpose is clear, that you serve faithfully, that you attract opportunity with grace. Decide it so firmly that no outer evidence can shake it. The world will protest at first. It always does when power awakens, but persistence will silence it. You may ask, why does life test those who decide? Because decision divides. It separates those who wish from those who will. The law must test conviction before granting command. Every temporary setback is not punishment. It is proof. Each time you hold faith in the face of contradiction, your authority grows. Each time you persist, the subconscious deepens its obedience. You are training a universe, not merely a thought. Do not fear these tests. Welcome them. Every challenge is a servant disguised as obstacle. It brings you opportunity to demonstrate mastery. When fear whispers, speak calmly. This too obeys me. The words may tremble at first, but the vibration will strengthen with use. The law always bows to confidence, never to panic. You must remember that wealth is not money, it is mastery. Money is a shadow, wealth is the substance casting it. Many men chase the shadow and lose the substance. They labor for gold, yet remain poor in peace, poor in confidence, poor in time. True wealth is internal order, mind, body, and purpose moving in harmony. The man who possesses this order can rebuild fortune even after loss, for he carries riches within. To hold such order, you must remain loyal to the laws that built it. The law of assumption, thinking from the state of wealth, not toward it. The law of identity, sleeping as who you are becoming, not who you have been. The law of emotion, feeling faith rather than merely thinking it. The law of repetition, disciplining the mind until thought becomes nature. The law of circulation, directing money and service intelligently, letting no energy stagnate. The law of rest, trusting infinite intelligence to finish what you begin. The law of resurrection, rising each morning as creator, not creature. And finally, the law of reinforcement, guarding faith daily, polishing it until it shines through every act. These laws are not commands from another. They are reflections of your own divine nature. You were never meant to crawl through life chained to fear of loss or judgment. You were meant to stand upright as image of infinite intelligence, creating through thought, producing through purpose, and giving through abundance. Every great life you admire, Carnegie, Edison, Lincoln, Ford, was a demonstration of these same laws. They did not possess secret gifts. They possessed disciplined thought. They learned to hold one idea with such persistence that the entire universe rearranged to serve it. Andrew Carnegie imagined himself not as laborer, but as organizer of men, and men organized around him. Edison imagined light in the night, and the world now glows with it. Ford imagined a machine for the common man, and movement changed forever. They were men who thought in law. They did not pray for miracles, they became them. You too must become miracle in motion. Your environment may whisper limitation, but it cannot bind you unless you agree. Poverty is not inherited, it is imitated. Break that imitation by adopting the inner posture of mastery. Carry yourself with calm assurance. Speak with tone of purpose. Work not frantically, but intelligently. The world measures a man's belief by his composure. Act as one who knows law is on his side. And when others doubt, do not argue. Law needs no defense. Let your results speak for you. When they ask your secret, tell them simply, I have learned to think. For that is the highest art, to think clearly, deliberately, faithfully. Every failure is confusion of thought. Every success, its clarity. Permanent transformation, then, is not an achievement to boast of. It is a state to protect. Guard it as you would a sacred fire. Feed it daily with gratitude, faith, and service. Keep company with those who inspire order, not chaos. The mind is influenced by atmosphere. Choose one worthy of your destiny. The greatest danger after transformation is complacency. Many, once they taste success, loosen their discipline. They forget that faith, though self-sustaining, thrives on attention. Neglect turns abundance into arrogance, and arrogance blinds reason. Stay humble before the law that raised you. Remember, infinite intelligence gives increase only to those who serve its purpose. Continue to grow. Continue to learn. Continue to give. You will know the law lives in you when you no longer chase opportunity, it chases you. When your peace remains unbroken amid storms, when decisions flow without strain, when gratitude becomes your first response to every event. These are the signs of permanence. Others may call you lucky, but you will smile, for luck is law in disguise. And now let me speak to you plainly. You have become dangerous to mediocrity. The man who commands his thought cannot be ruled by fear. He cannot be bribed by approval or threatened by rejection. He walks among men as equal to kings because his kingdom is within. His faith cannot be taxed, his purpose cannot be stolen, his peace cannot be purchased. The world must adjust to him, not he to it. But with this power comes duty, the duty to use it rightly. Power misused collapses upon itself. Never use thought to harm, to dominate, to deceive. Law obeys direction without judgment, and what you send out must return. Think only what uplifts, build only what serves, and abundance will multiply beyond measure. True mastery expresses itself in service. The greater your consciousness of wealth, the greater your obligation to distribute it wisely. Look now at the life ahead of you. There will still be days of labor, but not of fear. Challenges will still appear, but you will meet them with calm. You will plan, act, and rest, all under harmony of law. Your nights will be sacred meetings with infinite intelligence, your mornings resurrection of purpose. The rhythm of success will beat steadily through your days. One day you will look back upon this very hour, the moment you accepted the truth of your own power, and realize it was the turning point of your life. All that follows will be proof of what you now know. That thought is destiny written before experience, that law is impartial servant to definiteness, that faith is the only true possession a man ever needs. If ever you falter, return to stillness. Close your eyes and recall the calm certainty of those who mastered themselves before you. See Edison at his bench, Ford at his drawing table, Carnegie before his plans. They were men of flesh, yet instruments of the infinite. Their strength came not from circumstance, but from surrender to the law within. You, too, possess that same law. Let this be your creed. I am the cause, not the consequence. I am the source, not the servant. I am the master of thought, and thought is the master of all things. Say it each night until the words become identity, until identity becomes nature, until nature becomes destiny. And when you have walked long enough in this truth, you will begin to see it everywhere. In the rhythm of seasons, in the faith of children, in the patience of nature, in the silent obedience of law. You will see that the universe itself thinks through you, that every breath you take is evidence of infinite order. You will realize that to live richly is not privilege, it is obedience. Poverty, fear, confusion, these are disobedience to the law of mind. What then is left for you to do? To live the proof, to be the demonstration of harmony between thought and creation, to let others look upon you and remember what is possible when a man believes. You need not preach. Your peace will preach for you. You need not boast. Your results will testify. The truly rich speak softly, for their certainty carries its own volume. If this teaching has reached your heart, it will follow you beyond this moment. You will begin noticing your own words, guarding them as seeds. You will observe your thoughts before sleep, planting them deliberately. You will awaken with purpose and gratitude. You will handle money with intelligence, not emotion. You will serve willingly, knowing service is the secret circulation of wealth. In time, you will forget the effort entirely, because the law will have become your nature. You will live as you breathe, creating without strain, receiving without guilt, giving without fear. That is the true freedom of the master of thought. The world will still appear noisy, filled with men chasing illusions. Do not despise them. They are you before awakening. Pity them with compassion and help when you can, but never lower your vibration to argue or prove. Teach through example. The light of understanding needs no defense. It shines silently. And remember, the journey does not end in material gain. Wealth of money is only the beginning of abundance. True riches include health, harmony, wisdom, friendship, creative joy, and the quiet certainty of purpose. As your consciousness expands, so too will your definition of success. What once seemed like ambition will feel small compared to the peace that follows mastery. One day, perhaps years from now, you will sit in silence and realize that nothing external ever mattered as much as the discovery of who you are. You will smile at your former fears, seeing how powerless they were. You will bless every challenge that once terrified you, for it trained you in faith. You will thank the laws that once seemed stern, for they were guides leading you home to yourself. This is the final revelation. There was never anything outside of you. The wealth, the struggle, the progress, the destiny, all were reflections of your thought. You have been both prisoner and warden, beggar and benefactor, question and answer. When you understand this, life loses its cruelty and gains meaning. You see that every loss was an invitation to rise, every fear a teacher of faith, every delay a test of readiness. Now the circle closes. You began this journey seeking wealth. You end it possessing wisdom. You sought fortune and found yourself. That self, awakened, is the true treasure, immeasurable, eternal, and complete. The gold of the earth will fade, but the gold of understanding will light your path forever. Let this truth rest in your heart as your constant companion. The mind is the only kingdom worth ruling. All else will arrange itself once that kingdom is in order. Rule it with clarity, discipline, faith, and gratitude, and your reign will never end. As you go forth from these words, walk slowly. Feel the ground beneath you as confirmation of your dominion. Every step is both symbol and statement. I am here by law. I am guided by law. I am supported by law. When the sun sets tonight, remember to give your final command to the night. Let your last thought before sleep be gratitude for power discovered. Whisper, as I sleep, infinite intelligence completes my work. I rest as master of thought. I wake as ruler of day. If you do this faithfully night after night, the day will come when even in dreams you walk as creator. You will not seek proof of wealth. You will be wealth. You will not chase opportunity. It will flow to you like rivers to the sea. You will not fear loss, for law itself will serve you. And when you open your eyes each morning, you will feel it, the quiet joy of mastery, not excitement, but certainty, not thrill, but peace. You will move through your days as one who finally remembers who he is. A being of thought, connected to infinite intelligence, master of cause, servant of purpose. This is the end of instruction and the beginning of command. No further teacher is needed. The laws have been given, the key has been turned. Now you must live it. Go forth not as student, but as example. Let your every act say to the world, this is what happens when a man governs his mind. Speak little, do much, create without haste, give without counting, rest without worry, and know beyond all doubt that your riches are assured because you have become them. This is the eternal law. What a man continually thinks and feels, he becomes. What he becomes, he attracts, and what he attracts, he multiplies. So think richly, feel deeply, act faithfully, and the universe will prove you right. You are the master of thought. You are the master of wealth. You are the proof that mind is the only miracle.